Well, here we are once again for another Saturday morning live stream, and we've got 6 people watching. How's that? You might have caught the glimpse. I didn't quite have it set up on the screen, as usual. I think it's too early in the morning. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Bill Simpson, good morning. How are you? What a week. Okay, I think we might get the show on the road. Where are we? What's happening around Thailand? What have we got on the YouTubers? And we've got Quinn Stephen. You've got your audio for the stream running and not the Discord. There we go. Okay, good morning, Stephen.
Hello.
Hello, Darlo. Good morning. How are you?
Do you hear me?
Hey, what was that again?
Hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, we got you. Let's be.
Oh, sorry, I've got to plug in my.
You got to plug in everything, have you? It's all right.
Better? Better?
It's all right. We've got you. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, as long as we're in sync, that's the main thing.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, we were up to 1 o'clock last night, sort of trying to sort out a few little problems on Stephen's computer. Oh my God!
3 o'clock, wasn't it?
Hey? Oh, 3 o'clock for
3
you.
o'clock?
Well, I think I can't remember, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever it was. But we'll get it sorted out. I actually found there's a plug-in for Google Chrome that I can do a remote desktop and see if I can fix those problems. So that might get us around the issue of your Skype and other things that we tried to use.
How many minutes are you into the stream? I just want to watch my video.
We just started. Just started just then. Yeah, so we're 2 minutes into it.
2 minutes. Okay, I'll just see if I can. See.
And there we go. Just got to scroll that little scroll bar across to the end so you can get up to the sync. Yep, there we go. Anyway, okay. Let me get off the screen there, and while Stephen's clicking around and getting everything sorted out. Okay, what we got going? So, I don't know why. There's no particular reason why it puts me on the top. But yeah, we got a live stream. That's because we've got a live stream running now. Yeah, so my last video we published yesterday was actually I think we put it out on Friday or Thursday, wasn't it? When it got Thursday. That's the group ride out to Nakhon Nayok. Today's live stream we're actually going 19 Fort. Good afternoon, Robert Groves. Yeah, so you finally made it, did you? How's the house hunt? How's the house building going? I keep on seeing all your lovely posts on Facebook there. He's an up and coming budding videographer there. Ron Dawson, hello Warren from Nova Scotia, Canada. Must be getting a bit cool up there these days. 11:02 p.m. Well, I tried. I really couldn't get it any earlier than 10 a.m. here because it's 9 a.m. That means getting up at 8:30 and sort of waking Chanya up and all that sort of stuff. So we have to set up for the 10 o'clock. But okay, I think you just had daylight saving just kick in as well, didn't you? Anyway, so I did the group ride out to Nakhon Nayok. There is actually a ride footage of that, but I'm going to do ride footage today, but I'm going to do ride footage for this one here when we did to the ride out to Bang Kachow, Bang Kachow Botanical I've got the hiccups again. Bang Kachow Botanical Gardens. That was from the week before. So we're going to do that ride footage just for a bit of entertainment today, running through the city. But anyway, moving along. Maggie's journey. Again, so quick updates. Live streaming. First day of teaching. She's getting very busy with her videos. Lovely sort of fresh look at Thailand, all that sort of stuff. Shane Cashman, he's still over in in Australia, in Mackay. Or is it? No, truck driving in Queensland. Phi, Vietnamese food. Chuck, no time to miss out, up in, where is Chuck living? He's up in Cordat somewhere, isn't he now? Stephen? Oh, okay. Anyway,
Sorry, I'm here. Yes.
he's up in Kuwait.
Chuck, I don't know. He's always moving around though. He's always doing something.
Well, this latest videos are loud and pink Thailand. I think he's still just bouncing around the place. Anyway, so a few little bits and pieces there from Chuck. Thai-tastic. In Pattaya. That's a popular video, sorry, let me go to that one. West Game recruitment promo. I'm not quite sure what that is. It looks like he's doing some video for some people. Thailand Unplugged. Recent activities. He keeps on that again. He's look at Thailand through his news segment. And David Daly. This video was posted on our group the other day on the Facebook group. A little bit sort of a contentious issue with some people. I think some people just need to get a little bit more of a, grow a few, and just get over and done with the. It was a, oh God, the way they go on. So he's just interviewing one of the bar girls down there in I think it was Pattaya, I think it was. And her idea, I not like boom boom too much. Some people get really sort of quite freaking weird about sort of some of the videos. I thought it was quite benign. But anyway, moving along.
Being a bit precious about it.
Too many snowflakes in this world these days, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, Splash Joe, that's a popular video, so let me go to the right one. Loikatrong, so he's getting ready for Loikatrong. That's, it's a bit of a contentious issue when Loikatrong is. Loikatrong is a Buddhist holiday, right, held on the full moon, which is the Wednesday next week.
Loikatrong.
But Chiang Mai's doing their celebration on the Monday, which is the day before the full moon. There's no real formality about the Loikatrong because it's not actually a public holiday. Nobody really at this point knows when it's Monday or Wednesday, so I think we've got to keep both days free. I've got a friend, one of my subscribers, coming up from, I think he's in Hua Hin. He's coming up to Bangkok with his girl, trying to get together and sort of do a video together and have a chat and all sorts of things. But he said he wants to come after Loikatrong, so we don't know whether he's coming on Wednesday or he's going to come on Friday. Oh my God. Oh. Trying to get planning done. PopeKael moderators, Robert Groves and all. It's PopeKael. PopeKael, thank you very much. Like you're Pope Stephen, okay? You should change your name to Pope Stephen.
Loikatrong, I'm just having a look here. It's a Siamese festival celebrated annually throughout the Kingdom of Thailand and nearby countries with significant Southwest Thai cultures, Lao, Shan, Mon. The name could be translated as to float a basket. Float a basket.
Float a basket.
Comes from the tradition of making tutung, or buoyant decorated baskets, which are then floated on the river. Loikatrong takes place in the evening on the full moon of the 12th month of traditional Thai lunar calendar. This is all from Wikipedia, of course.
Yeah.
So it's all bullshit. But basically, that's how it is. A handmade kratung is a little basket with banana, tree trunk and banana leaves held together with pins and decorated with flowers. There you go.
That's right. So one of the things they've had in recent years is the people making the katrongs out of styrofoam and was polluting the waters. They've cracked down on that pretty seriously. You'll still see a few, but people have gone back to the traditional katrongs, which is a banana plant stalk. Which floats in the water anyway because it's highly ascorbic, and then they decorate those with the banana leaves and everything else. At least they decompose in the water, but it still creates an absolute mess. It's very pretty, very pretty on the night, but unfortunately, in the next few.
Yeah. They're handed to passing aircraft, and can cause damage to important places in the area, such as the Grand Palace or temples and government offices. Convoy are increasingly subject to governmental restrictions. In Chiang Mai, authorities cancelled 78 flights out of Chiang Mai. Another 70 flights 9 flights were rescheduled. Despite those measures, the remains of more than 100 lanterns were later found on airport premises. In Bangkok, the public are prohibited from using fireworks and sky lanterns entirely. Violators may face 3 years in prison, Jesus, and a 60,000 baht fine. 190 piers on the Chao Phraya River will be open to the public to float their kratungs. Call them kratungs, which is those baskets. In 2018, up to 158 flights were cancelled. During the festival, some people also decorate their houses, gardens, and temples, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so there you go. And the aftermath's pretty bad as well, because the city government said that 661,000 were collected from the waterways across Bangkok. And of these, 93% were made of decomposable natural materials, while the rest were non-biodegradable. 44,000 were non-biodegradable. And there were fewer kratung collected in 2015, blah, blah, blah. What else? So there you go. And it's got fireworks and dances and parades and all that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, I know I've got some photos here. Like the last time I've actually seen them floating the candles in Bangkok. I just don't know whether it was 2010. I'm just trying to flick for my Flickr album right now. No, that's December. So November. So it'll be November. I'm going to find these photos. Okay, so that wasn't an answer. It might have been 2011. No, 2011 was the flood. So what about 2012?
All from Wikipedia, Robert.
He's turning on the Wikipedia stuff, you know.
It's interesting to see that all those flights were stopped. I mean, I often thought about
Yeah, well, basically they're diverting flight. This year in Chiang Mai Airport, basically it's closed for 3 days.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, but yeah.
So you wonder whether the authorities are thinking, is it worth having?
Well, the authorities are always trying to shut it down. That's the thing, because business is business. You know how this is the way it goes, unfortunately. Oh, come on. Flickr's being really slow today.
You don't want to be walking along and get hit in the head with a burning kratung.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So there had been some rather serious fires, caused by them.
Could you imagine getting hit by one just walking along? You're on your
way I know.
You're half hung over and pissed, and you get hit in the head with a kratung.
Okay, looks like we went 2011. God, I really got to sort my albums out. I got way too many photos.
I've got to create that one. What's it called? Flipper?
November.
Tripper? What's it called where you put your photos? Tripper.
No, it's Flickr. It's called Flickr. Yeah, Flikr. Flickr. So it wasn't.
Tripper would be better. Flickr Tripper.
There's some really good photos of the floating of the candles, but do you think I can find them in my bloody album now? Seriously, I'm wasting too much time trying to find this shit. I tell you.
Everybody knows what it looks like. That's what.
Yeah. Yeah, so much for that. I'll just close my Flickr down now. I just can't be bothered trying to find it.
D3 says Flickr is old school.
Yeah. Anyway, Bangkok travel. We're getting back to the things that Flickr is old school. It's still it's probably the best photo housing on the planet. But I do like their app. Their app is very, very responsive. You can sort your photos into albums and all that sort of stuff. That's why I like it.
D3 is probably a millennial.
There. It's a visit to the beach near Nakhon Si Thammarat. That was from Bangkok Travel there. Then his live streams throughout the week. Foreigner Joe, what's he doing there? Live from Kamala, Thailand. That was 46 minutes ago. I think I did see him. He was broadcasting a little while ago. Yep.
I store all my photos on Kodak rolls.
Do you?
Negative. Yeah, Kodak negative rolls.
How does that work? Huh? How does that work?
Well, you just take them to a Kodak store and they process.
They do it for you, do they? Yeah.
They still got them in Bangkok. Kodak store.
Well, I think we did the walkabout one I did with. The walkabout one I did with Tim, we went to that mega mall in the centre there of Bangkok. I think it's near one of them MRT stations. And yeah, we went up to the 6th floor and it was just all cameras. It's probably the most cameras I've ever seen for sale, and it was new and second hand. There's some pretty interesting sort of devices there.
E3 puts his in a photo album.
Yeah, does he? I used to. Then I, of course, coming to here, I wasn't going to lug all these photo albums, so I bought a negative film scanner and I scanned all the negatives and put them up on my Flickr. Anyway, direction Bangkok. What do we got going on there? So I have
Tommy Crash, try not to talk about other vloggers, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, so we don't like to talk, about other vloggers. If you can't say something nice about them, don't say anything about them all. In my opinion, Rob's one of the founding fathers here of Thailand vlogging. I think he deserves a little bit of respect. Anyway, so what do we got here? Why I have a low subscriber count. Well, he hasn't really got a low one. He only started shortly. He's just hasn't tweaked, the popular genre. And it's taken me 3 years to get where I am, and it's still growing slowly. You got to engage your audience. I think he's lacking his engagement point at this point in time. I think his videos are pretty good. He gets to show around, but we haven't made a connection. I don't think he's really made a connection to everybody yet, but he'll get there. Chiang Mai, so Jocko, what's he doing? Chiang Mai nightlife, bit of a walk around Chiang Mai there. I don't know, the Cherry Bar, never heard of it. I've never been to Chiang Mai. Nid doing her live streams as usual, getting out there in, live, well, was it 5 days ago, merit making, I think we sort of talked about that one. About me, family life. She's a charming soul, she really is. I do like Nid. That foreign bloke, what's he up to? We're back in Thailand 3 days ago. What's he doing? Well, I haven't watched the video, of course. So he's basically back in Thailand, so probably see what he's up to. Down about Thailand, expat health training for over 40-year-olds. He has a chat with a gym trainer there. Do more life. Working abroad, the simple truth. Not really a good, well done branding on that. It's a bit hard to read that on that blue, isn't it? Well, maybe it's my eyesight.
That should be an interesting video, actually. Working abroad.
Traveling while working abroad, the simple truth.
Mm.
He has some good, he has some good sort of, takes on some of these sort of issues. I think it's worthwhile. I'm not into his live streams. I think he just rambles on. Maybe then he might say that I ramble on too. But he does some interesting short videos about little interesting points. Our life Thai. So Tim, submitting your TM30. That was his last one. TM30. You and your. Anyway, he runs through the process of using the app on your phone to do your TM30 check-in. Of course, there's nothing changed in the ruling. It's still there, but it's no longer really sort of getting the click-throughs for the news agencies. So the whole thing's died in the arse. You know how it works. It's not if it's not contentious issues, it doesn't sell newspapers.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So what's Ethan J5 from Netflix and. Tip Samai is overrated. I don't know what he's talking about there. 9 hours ago.
The newspapers in the old days, you used to see a story on a plane crash, and underneath they'd have cheap air flights advertisement.
So it looks like
on a murder, and underneath an ad for a butcher's. Yeah, they've got our best interests at heart. The old media.
Yeah, haven't they? Yeah, sure. Yeah, go and buy my newspaper. Anyway, so there's something to talk on Netflix about Netflix there, cosplay in Thailand. Nick Dean, that's at Mooching and Blue Bar. He does a bit of a walk around, checks out a couple of bars down there on the soy where he's got his bar.
That's a cool little title. What was it called? Mooching.
Mooching, yeah. Colin from Thailand.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to get through this
what's
thing here.
mooching, Warren?
Mooching?
What's mooching mean?
Oh, I don't know. I said, it wasn't a sort of I can't remember now.
Desire.
It's escaping me. It's an American term. It comes from the jazz era.
Yes. So what's it mean? What's it
I
mean?
don't know. Well, you tell me.
Mooching.
Come on.
Tell me and I'll give you a kiss.
Mooching. I don't think it had anything to do with kissing. Did it? It was about moving up to somebody and getting all touchy feely. I thought it was, but anyway.
Yeah, that's it. You've got it. That's it.
Is that what it was? Was it okay? Yeah.
Mooching. Well, mooching. I don't know if it's an American term, but it's an old-fashioned term anyway. Mooching.
Okay. Uploads. Okay, from Colin in Thailand there. Okay, so I might have to just translate that one.
Lucky Luke. Hello, nice to see you again.
Okay, so let me see if I can translate that. I can't really read that one. Translate this page. What the frick? No, don't go over there. I said translate. No, there it is. Caves View, Satamawanaram Monastery. Okay. Okay, so he's another one of these cave temples. There's a few of them around. Yeah, there's a few of these cave temples around Thailand. They're quite interesting. There's actually one in Snake Mountain as well. When I went and did that right at the Snake Mountain, there's one there, but it was a fair bit of a walk around. And I was
19 Forte says it means to constantly borrow something. So yeah, I think I was getting at more of the social scene, but anyway.
Yeah, there is that. I think that's a later terminology. It's the mooching is getting something.
Well, that's probably the original meaning. It means to constantly borrow. You mooch off somebody, you get something off them. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Ian Welldale, Thailand retirement visa and TM30 latest. Sing the song. You're not going to sing TM30. You didn't sing the song. Come on.
TM30 songs. Yes, it's just the trigger. I've got to take the silicon chip out of it every time I hear it. Imagine going through customs and they say, "Excuse me." No, that's not. So I have the Thai speak. Sorry, car. Show me your TM30 car. TM30 song, TM30 song. And you just keep singing it every time they mention it. Do they let you go through or just...
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. Unless, of course, maybe you need to put one of those dresses on, like the cute girls that Stephen had on his video.
Oliver Grove says mooching also means getting something for nothing.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. I think we've covered that one.
But I was thinking in the social scene more about when you mooch. I think it's just hugging and kissing and
Yeah. Well, that's what I was. I said from the jazz era. I'm pretty sure that's where I've made that association, but there's probably different angles in it.
Team 30 says it's not the Team 30 song, it's the Team 30 form.
Well, it is. But the thing is, when you say TM30, you've got to sing the song. TM30.
TM30 song, TM30. Yes. We'll have to have it removed.
Stephen could take the video down, so then it'll die in the ass. Anyway, so Ian's out there, does a Thailand retirement visa sort of update.
It's a little twitch I have every time they say Team 30. I go into a song.
Okay, Big Fat Bestie, Hotel Amber Patia does it.
Hold on. Robert said, and Della said, well, I think we've got it mixed up. It's smooching.
Smooching, there's mooching and smooching. Maybe I thought that
might be smooching. Oh, now that's throwing a spanner into the works. I've got to look it up.
Anyway, go and look it up while I just cover off the rest of this channel updates.
How do you spell it? Mooching. How do you spell it? Mooching.
Well, it's mooching and smooching. Smooching is just with the S on the mooching. So.
Yeah, have you heard of smooching?
Yeah, I've heard of smooching. Yeah, that's all. Lovey-dovey, kissy. Anyway, Big Fat Bestie. Hotel Patia review down there, Hotel Amber.
Might be Chinese, mooching.
Talkback Thailand, he's got his live stream this afternoon at 5 p.m. That's 5 p.m. Thai time, I'm pretty sure. So 8 p.m. Australia.
How do you spell mooching?
Really. So don't forget to tune in for his live stream. Graham and Pi up there fishing on the lake. She's still out there making her videos. She's still plugging away. This is Mick. Another one from Mick. Visit a fresh food seafood market in Pak Nam. Okay, Pak Nam. Where is Pak Nam? Paknam. Pak Nam. It's on a BTS. Okay, so it's on the Chao Phraya River. It's down there. It's a Pak Nam BTS. So I'm guessing it's one of these little. Just probably around here somewhere. There's a little fishing market. I would guess. I can't really tell because it's all in Thai. But I guess it's somewhere down here. He's doing a little trip.
A mooch used to be a hat in the old days.
Did it?
Yeah, sort of a hat. And they reckon here it also means to beg. So it must be the Urban Dictionary, but probably I'd say smooching is probably what we were thinking of.
Yeah. Anyway, so Sarah, she's done another video there, sort of Mankiao, Mansai. Let me just translate that for you so we can actually sort of see the English. Mankiao, Mansai, please don't get annoyed with Sarah. I'm not quite sure what she meant by that. But anyway, she's another one of her friends that's doing some more English Thai lessons. She's got a Loy Kachow thing coming out. We're trying to get her set up for. She's now over the 1,000 subscribers, so she's actually eligible for doing live stream from her phone, but they haven't enabled it yet on her account, which is a bit of a pain. I've given a suggestion. She should be able to load up the Streamlabs app on her phone, and that should bypass the ability in YouTube to actually stream from her phone because it links directly to her account. But again, she's going to do some testing to see how that goes. Otherwise, she said because I'm in communication with her, we're going to try to get together next week or the week after and do a video together. Lovely girl.
Ooh.
Yeah, lovely girl. She's plugging away there. She's going to be a very successful channel. I have that feeling. She's just got that.
You're going to be doing any mooching and smooching?
No, I'm not going to be mooching and smooching. I did sort of suggest she could come out and get her hair done. She's thinking about it. It's just again, she's in the centre of Bangkok. And she's got an hour and a half ride, out to where we are. Versus, same as like if we go in there, it's an hour and a half into the city. So maybe we'll have to find, again, sort of, where's the backdrop? Here we have Jack's Bar. Maybe we should pick Jack's Bar on the, it's just halfway, equidistant both ways.
It's what?
Equidistant both ways, almost. Yeah.
What's that mean?
Equal distance, time-wise. Stop picking on me, right? Okay. Thai girl gift. Looking around. Did I turn that off? So I make sure we got. Make sure we don't.
Equidistance from the equator.
Yeah. Looking around. Supan Buri and Paktra Kran with Thai girl gift. So that's one of these little outlying places. Supan Buri, that's isn't that? No, Supan Buri. I
think that's pretty much the normal colour, Dolo. It always looks yellow.
Well, no, I think it's that's. It looks like that's peak rainy season when all the craps come down the river.
Peak poo season.
No, it's just silt, heavy silt. Rob, last Halloween Horrors Night. Serena, there we go. She's back in Barcelona. So she's still obviously got some video footage from when she did her trip. She is back in Thailand, but yeah. Anyway, so that's pretty much the roundup. Took a bit longer than I expected. What have I missed in the conversation?
Not a lot. Just Jack's Bar, Robert says, now that is a great place for beer. Excellent view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good. You get there at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. If you can get a seat, you watch the sun setting over the western part of the city, and it's all the boats going up and down start turning all the lights on, and you get that dusk overview of the city, with the lights on the river or the boats, and it's really quite pretty. And it's although there's no air conditioning at Jack's Bar, you get that nice little breeze off the river. And if you get it the wrong tidal, it can actually smell a little bit too as well. But
The river is yellow, isn't it? It's like it's not
well, in
dark.
this photo here, maybe it's a filter as well.
Can you Photoshop it?
No, I didn't Photoshop it. I just found it on.
I mean, can you change the yellow to blue? Make it look nicer?
No, I can't. Not here. I could in Photoshop, but it'll take me half an hour.
Get on with it.
Get on with it, yeah. Just bugger off, would you? Anyway, so
I'll send it to you.
yeah, where are we? So, how many people we've got watching at the moment?
We're 14 watching, 16 thumbs up, and
15 thumbs
six-
up and 14
6
watching.
basement dwellers.
Yeah, okay. So we've got a small gathering this morning, maybe because it's a Saturday morning. Anyway, let's go for a ride, eh? Play video, blow it up.
And me and
full
Robert is spanners. We haven't got any other spanners. We normally have a few more spanners, don't we?
Again, I think it's probably the timing. Maybe it's a game on today. What I want to do is get me out of the screen. There we go. Yes, this is our ride we did 3 weeks ago to Bang Kachow. Just sort of just put that footage there. So the people do. This is something that I've found people have sort of said they actually like to see the long, as a backdrop, moving pictures while we chat about
true.
life. Okay.
Stills are good, but moving pictures are good too.
Well, one of the things I did want to bring up, so we were having this conversation last night with Stephen, but I've also had, at the same time, Richard Taylor was trying to message me on the Discord. Don't forget, if you want to come in and have a chat, the Discord link is in the description box below. You know how that works. But I had to sort of, call him out. So he's got himself, he's currently in Phuket, and he was sort of having a bit of a sort of a whinge about the fact that he came from America with $2,000 US spending money, and he's sort of saying he's quite surprised the fact that he's now thinking of cutting his 90 days short to 30 days because he's running out of money. And I just said to him, I said, well, you didn't even tell me, what your plans were. You should have asked a bit more questions. He did sort of say he's been talking with Serena. It didn't come up in conversation, but that's the sort of thing I do here, right? One of the things I'm trying to encourage people is to get onto the Discord. This is going to be something we're building up. We've got our Facebook group, and you can contact me Facebook privately, but what we want to do with the Discord, we want to build this Discord channel up to be a go-to place where everybody can ask questions about Thailand and in general and get feedback. Now, again, just giving a bit of recap. Simon from Land of Smiles, he ran a forum a couple of years ago called the Thailand Desk. Initially started out pretty good, but the software he was using was very expensive, and again, everybody expects all these things for free, and people never sort of cough up any money to help out. That's one of the things that we try to do. I don't mind, doing a little bit, but I said, my website cost me money to run. I started building up the Thailand hub. That's a private website as well, in a build-up style, very similar to Facebook. So transitioning from Facebook into, the Thailand hub would have been sort of seamless for most people. But again, it's not getting the engagement, and it costs money to run it. People aren't going there. People aren't using it for its intended purpose. The whole idea we're trying to do, yes, yeah, Land of Smiles, see, it's got a good channel there. Simon is a great storyteller. I tried to get Simon, I did ask Simon if he wanted to come on board with the Thailand Hub project. He just said he was too busy, and I can appreciate he's a busy guy. He's, for what he's doing down there, he's just quite busy. But this thing here, the Discord channel, right? This is where we want to be able to put information, share information, get people involved. It does require you to go and open a web page to get onto the Discord channel, which is a bit hard if you don't have a direct link. But if you sort of bookmark it on your Facebook, on your web page, you can do that. Ideally, what we're saying is there is an app, right? You can download an app to your phone. There's an app that you can download to your computer. And you've got the links down below. There, thanks, Stephen. You've got the links down below. All you got to do is register. Once we sort of see, just there's a in our group there's a introduce yourself. Just write a little bit. Let us know who you are in relation to, if you use a different name on here. So there's me hopping into the server, kangaroo. Me, kangaroo. Is that kangaroo? Our kangaroo. Anyway, he's actually not active, but he's obviously registered at 10:35 this morning. What time's it now? 10:36. Big Fast Walker showed up. Okay. Just quickly. Oh, there we go. He's on there. He's probably trying to.
Hopping's on board. He's another spanner. Come on.
Well, he's actually he's there. He's actually not saying anything, or he's trying to get his audio sorted out. But yeah, so this is a place where we can sit down and chat. It's not being monitored by Facebook. It's not being monitored by Google. It's not being monitored by the NSA. If you get what I mean, it's a private networking system. The original idea of Discord, it gave us gamers a place where we could hang out and share our experience and really just be completely devoid of all that spying, right? What we want to do with this is we want to get you involved, right? Okay, I'm a moderator. I've got a few admins here to help keep the whole thing running, and once I educate Stephen a bit more on don't click that because you'll delete the channel sort of thing, And there's Yaklama. He's joined us again. Good morning, Yaklama. Yeah, so it has voice activity. It's like a voice group or party line group chat. But we've got text channels where we can post information. Let me just quickly bring that over onto the screen. See, okay, I can't do that and that at the same time. It looks like it. Well, why can't I overload that on that? That's a bit of a pain in the ass. Yeah. So as I said before, we've got these text channels. This is just some of the stuff I've started out with. Introduce yourself. Live stream suggestions. So Bluesinc thinks I should change the channel name to Wazza TV, which is something that I'm working on. Just for fun. Put that up for Stephen there, that little Benny Hill clip. Oh yeah, very lovely. This poor girl, she's busting out of her dress. Just for fun. Movies and TV, some stuff I've been sharing about, TV series I've been watching.
Yes. Yeah, that one, want to scroll down there, that's it, you got it.
Yep. My latest videos.
There you go, Dalla. You got some wet T-shirt action that you asked for.
Yeah, that's it. That's the wet T-shirt action. Yes, that was our ride out to the waterfall. We'll do that ride in a couple of weeks. The ride footage there. Only Thailand Oris. I love these sort of things. The things. But it's just not me. You can, if you find funny stuff to put up there, this is what we do. This is what this stuff's all about.
Thai news. What's the Thai news?
Thailand news. This is Stephen put up an article about should Thailand give up on Bangkok and move its capital. That's a current thing that's going around, and we can add more news. Like the more people that start engaging this, then we'll find more articles.
Thailand travel.
Thailand travel. Getting around the place. This is the more. I was talking about getting around and distances and things like that. Useful links, and of course, for the people who play games, what games, So it's definitely sort of worth having a look at, and
it kind of joins the dots that other forums where don't have the time to do it.
Yeah. So let me get back. Yeah. So okay, I've joined up with Goy here from the service station.
19 Take care. Have a good day.
Yeah, so this is what we want to do with the Discord, right? It's a place where you guys can hang out, share information, and get to know one another, be able to contact me. Generally, if I'm home, I've got my headphones on and I'll be normally sitting in the lobby. If the other voice channel there is the Wazza streaming, if you see the Wazza streaming channel, then your voice will be probably on the stream. So it's your choice if you want to be heard on the stream. Of course,
the lobby's just a link. It's not the hotel lobby.
Yeah, well, the top, at the top of the screen, so we call it the lobby, right? That's where that's where we are. And like I might put a sort of an FAQ thing up at the top there as well. But yeah, so this one here, this lobby voice channel is where we just generally chat. This one here is, if you're here, that means the fact that we're streaming, and invariably you will be heard on the stream. It's fairly easy to sort of work the two of them out. Of course, if we're playing games, we might be in one of these other channels, but I'm not going to try to confuse that issue.
It'd be a good place, Robert, if you wanted to, was to post your progress on your new house.
Yeah, we'd love to. I'll make you a separate channel just for the house progress if you want. Stick your videos up in there so you can put them all in one place. Anyway, so this ride is on a Sunday morning. This is about 8:30. We're riding into the city. And to give you an idea of the Saturday morning traffic, like I said, Thai is still working on Saturday morning, so it gets a bit of quite fun. But as I said, anyway, so we're talking about the Discord. What we want to do is we just want to get people, building a group together. It's not up to me, and again, even the thing that I talked about with the every second week we do our meetup in at the bar, at Susie's place, the Down Under bar. This is something. It's a group we're trying to build for everybody. Now I'm also now sort of a patron of the meetup group, so that gives me something to do on a Friday. I go and hang out with Jerry and the crew with that. I don't video in there. It's not a video hangout. Same with the Tuesday night.
How many titles do you have, Warren? You got your admin, you're the Patreon, you're the
I got a few.
PopeKael.
Well, the PopeKael is what I've been known of in the gaming world. That was my handle in the gaming world. So
I don't know how you do it all.
I just everybody has aliases. That was the only alias I run by.
Don't be like you're in many programs, aren't you?
Just don't Google it. That's all. There we go. And everybody's off in their browser now googling PopeKael. Okay, right here. There.
Oh, by the way, everybody, Warren caught his first bus the other day.
Oh yeah, I did. I actually used there's an app.
Got any pictures?
No, I didn't take any photos. Well, I'm waiting for you to get over here so we can take pictures together.
He's so high that he's never caught a bus before.
Right, so this, of course, it's probably hard to sort of see that, but there's this app called Via Bus you can download, and you just basically bring up the map where you're going to, right, and it'll look, and where's your current location. You'll see the bus routes, and then it tells you what bus numbers to catch. So easy, and like seriously, like from my house down to. We haven't even gone past it but down here a bit further is the mall.
Hello wants to know, sorry to interrupt, how to add you as a friend on Discord. You just invite, don't you?
Well, the friend thing allows you to have one-on-one conversations. So let me just upgrade these two. I don't know. They haven't sort of said who they are yet. So there's me and there's Fast Walker. So I'm guessing. He's indicating Fast Walker. What does it like?
How do I add you as a friend?
Well, you just right-click them, right-click their name, right, and then you can message them, and there's an add friend. Again, if I just bring it over here, so if you're in the Discord channel, well, let me just close that again. Right, so there's Discord. You can't wait. Well, it's coming up. Just give your 10 seconds behind. Remember? Okay. So here we're so here's Yaklama. You right-click it, then you can go. Oh, so he's already my friend, so I'd remove him from a friend, but I can add friend. Right. I can then I can message him privately, so that would go over to the private messaging. I probably shouldn't show that because that's a private sort of messaging. We've been talking about different people. Sorry about that, Yaklama. Probably would have been easy if I did it with Stephen, but then of course that would be me giving Stephen stick last night about how he was being so inept about trying to get me something.
He just screams at me the whole time, and then expects me to absorb it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, that's how I learn.
At least I don't have to adjust the volume.
So you just right click here, add friend, and that gives you the ability to go into friends here, and you've got your list of friends right down there, and this is where you can have private one-to-one conversations. Right, if I looked at Stephen's there, I'm sort of trying to show Stephen some stuff. It does allow me to have a video call with him and a private telephone call with him. It's a fairly straightforward system. This, as I said, I keep on saying to most people, people have been dumbed down on the internet with places like Facebook, and Facebook allow only so much interaction because they have they want to make money.
Can you see the instructions Warren's put up there? Big capital letters. What does that say?
I'm trying to write on it. God, give me a.
It's got arrows and everything. But what he didn't say was that my desktop wasn't ready. Didn't have a lot of things that he could see, and I couldn't see.
Yeah, because
you were just below there.
Yeah, because you were still.
Arrows, click this, set this.
You didn't have all these settings. That's what I was just saying, right? I'm trying to walk you through the settings on how to set up your...
Tip, guys, work it out yourself. Don't
how to set up your voice, how to set up the output device, right? Setting up these things, setting the volume levels, setting the voice activity, getting this thing here automatically set up for the voice, what they call the Vox turn off, right? You don't have all this, configuration on the web page. Right, and again, when you've got the app installed,
they automatically determine input sensitivity, right? And Warren's could see it on his screen, and I couldn't see it on mine. And he screamed at me, "What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? Come on, get the."
Right. And then I said, "Well, I can't see the on button." "Well, you must be kidding! It's on the right." And of course, it wasn't.
The point was that the web page configuration is different. It's like it's a cut down version of Discord.
But I did manage to do two of the things, but the last one, I didn't have. As you say, you need to download the app.
You need to download the app. That's basically it. But it's a fairly straightforward system. It's a way people can get together and interact. And the best thing about it, it doesn't cost me anything. That's the takeaway. It doesn't cost anything to do this, right? So
it does what you need it to do,
and it does. It just enables people to be able to sort of communicate, ask questions.
It's tricky when you try it at first, but
yeah,
presumably most people are above me. So,
well, don't put yourself down. You've managed to get on. So you're getting there. I just want to go back on general chat. So Yaklama, no problem. Happy to show our bromance. Anyway, Fast Walker. Let's give him. Let's upgrade his membership to a regular. And me as well, upgrade to give it the role, regular. So they've now got full access to all the channels.
Robert Mack's in the house, Warren. Robert Mack's in the house.
Robert Mack's in the house? In which house?
Robert Mack in Asia. Robert Mack.
Oh, yeah.
The giant. He's 6'10" or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, you couldn't get in our house. I think our ceilings are too short.
He'd barely be able to walk under that bloody concrete train rail, BTS, whatever it is.
Yeah, well, I know. I think they'd probably hire him to actually paint underneath, wouldn't they? You wouldn't need a ladder.
Couldn't imagine. Jesus Christ, you couldn't walk down the street. That's for sure.
Don't worry. Like we're at that process with the house hunting where she's drafting up the proposal for the bank at the moment. With the help of a friend. We're actually sort of targeting that one around the corner from us here, the 3.2 million. And so if we get the go ahead with this, Robert Mack, when you come into Thailand, you can paint the ceilings for us. We don't have to put any scaffolding up.
Yeah, fix all the bird's nests as well.
Yeah.
The wiring. Fucking hell, 6'10", whatever he is, Jesus.
So it was savage gimbal. Only a nerd would have their mods use a bit.ly link to PayPal. Yeah, of course. It means that I can monitor click-throughs. Come on, yeah, it's a nerdy thing. So like if I just put a link, I don't sort of see the click-throughs. If I use a bit.ly link, I can actually get the statistics on the click-throughs.
Chris
Okay?
B's in the house. Hello, Chris.
You're talking to somebody who's been on the internet for 30 years. Come on, guys. I know how to use it. I can teach you how to use the internet if you want to know. Something that we can talk about on Discord. I'm only here and I'm full of information that's useful for everybody. How do you avoid scams in Thailand? How do you get around this? How do you do that? Right? I'm a fountain of knowledge and it's all free. Right? It will always be free as long as you engage in the community. That's what I'm saying. Right? If you join my Patreon, you get priority service. Okay? It's one of those sort of things. If you're coming to Bangkok, I'll always drop everything to go and do a meetup with you as a Patreon. Right? I don't want to plug the Patreon. It's up to you guys if you think that that's worth, at that level of interaction. Patreons have a special channel. Right? This is the general channel. Patreons get a special channel. It's just fairly straightforward. And we can talk privately amongst the Patreons in our Patreon channel. You're the special guys. I don't do. There's a few extra videos. You also get access to the previous videos before I started vlogging, which is the stuff that I did with Chanya in our first 7 years of our trips over here. The video quality is not up to what it is these days, but it was shot with a 720p camera. But, it still gives you an idea of Chanya and her, cabaret days, and what she did for a job back in those days. But as I said, Patreons get access to that. I don't do, like Rob and a few others, the special Patreon videos. I don't want to create that distance from people. Does that make sort of sense? I don't know what I'm going to do when I'm 50,000 subscribers and this is a 24/7 operation. I'll have to hire people to help me run the whole show. But it's the way I deal with life. I had to find everything out myself the hard way because people are so money hungry and money conscious, and everything costs you something, and they don't bend over backwards for you. Whereas I'm the sort of guy that goes the other way, right? If I help if I help enough people get what they want, I firmly believe in my soul that everything will work for me, right? It's like this in Buddhist terms, it's karma, right? Do good for everybody, help everybody. I believe that if I do that and I have that attitude and moral aspect and ethics in life, my life will be good. It's as simple as that, right? I don't have a problem with life, and I've planned everything. I probably over-planned everything. And I just want to help people. And I just think the more people I help, right, I don't give a damn about these trolls and we were having this conversation with Stephen last night as well.
Jesus, Warren, you had to say it. We haven't had any so far. Now they're all going to come.
Yeah, now they're all going to come, yeah. Is that Sukhumvit? Joe Ford is asking. No, we just came off PopeKael Road now. Now we're heading to Tuxan Bridge, right? So we're still following the BTS. That's the BTS on the right-hand side in the sky. This is I don't even know the name of this particular road. I think this is actually Saton Road, Tanon Saton. It actually goes
Warren's actually probably seen a lot more of Bangkok because he rides his bike around.
But I actually enjoy watching it because the fact that I see more in this video than I do when I'm riding, because my eyes are focused in front. What's this taxi going to do? What's this guy going to do? Where's he going? I'm worried about the moving portions. This is it's a bike riding thing.
You can go many places now, Warren, without your GPS though, can't you?
I can get around, but I'm still refer to it. I'm still always doing that. But when you're riding a bike,
still confusing to you? Like it's still confusing.
No, I've got a good sense of direction as well. I've got a good.
You should have.
It took about 6 months to get my, what they call internal GPS working. But after about 6 months, you start to, well, if you know how your body works and the body aligns to magnetic north and things like that, and you know where the sun is, and that was the biggest problem. During the day, you have a sense of north because of the time of the day and where the sun is. In the southern hemisphere, go move into the northern hemisphere, that sort of throws you out quite severely, if you know what I mean. So,
I built my sense of direction by using the public transport, right? Because I can't ride a bike, but
yeah,
I built my sense of direction through buses, through the klongs, through taxis, through just sheer time of being in Thailand. But it still wouldn't be, I don't think, as good as yours, having ridden almost everywhere on your bike, and then done the same routes several times.
yeah.
As you say, you've got your internal GPS now where you instinctively know where you're going. I still find it, I just have to rely on the trains and the buses, and I simply can't find my way around it all. As somebody Dalo says, it all looks the same. I mean, you could be anywhere at any time.
Yeah, and as I get better at the Thai script, over the next year, it'll help. I'm starting to recognise letters in the Thai alphabet now.
So that was interesting because when you said when you caught the bus, you recognised one of the Thai characters and it had a number, and now you know
Gorgai. So
you can use your app.
Yeah, their first letter in their alphabet is Gorgai, and it looks like one of the neurolinguistic things is you try to associate it with an animal. I think they sort of say it looks like a chicken, because Gorkai is, Gor.
It's essentially meant to teach you the gut sound.
Teaches you the gut.
The Gorgai is irrelevant.
And that's the thing on the app. But in real terms, trying to equate that's like saying that was bus number 84A. Right, because that Gorgai is the first letter in their alphabet. You get sort of thing. You get the idea. You start to build up this, knowledge base.
If you can catch the bus in Bangkok, you're going to save a lot of money. Like you saved 160 baht, didn't you, Warren?
So basically, it normally costs 80 baht to get from my place down to the MRT. It costs 10 baht because I got a red bus. The red buses are not air conditioned. Right, on the way home from the MRT, I got on the 80 bus, but it was an air-conditioned bus, right? And the same trip going back home was 15 baht. So I had to pay 5 baht more to get on the air-conditioned bus, if you know what I mean. The blue buses, there is the blue buses as well. They're express buses. They don't stop at all the stops. So again, you've got to know which stops that the blue buses will stop at.
The orange yellow one has the aircon, and the rest are just fans. The D3's a funny bugger. He said, I always carry a Thai newspaper under my arm. Thais think I'm a local.
No, that's a good idea, yeah. If you want to fake it. Well, they do sort of say that. Fake it till you make it,
I don't think so, D3. They'll never think you're a local, mate.
But as getting back to the whole riding, see, when I ride a motorcycle, I'm watching the cars, right, because they're the moving objects. And I'm watching the cars in the front, in the peripheral vision, and more importantly, what the fuck they're doing behind me, right? Because where's if you're lucky, they've got indicators. If they're using indicators, you can read what the traffic intends to do.
What they're doing behind you?
If they're using indicators, like 50% of the time they use indicators.
I thought you said something else. What the fuck?
Yeah, yeah.
Also landmarks. You'd start to recognise some of these buildings, don't you? Like that.
Oh yeah, you get to see buildings, so you get to know where you are. So.
But the ghost building, is that the ghost building up ahead?
No. This is now going around. This is Ramasam. This is actually going around the Chao Phraya River.
See what I mean, guys? He's building up as almost like a Rain Man store of information about directions.
Yeah, and this is actually on the right hand. This particular road has what they call an express bus lane. They introduced this a little while ago, but as soon as they brought this thing in, Thais started just jumping on it, and buses really couldn't get an express route because it just fills up with traffic. Again, great idea. It was for buses only, but there's no police there enforcing the rules, so Thais just don't give a shit, they just they just use it as a normal lane. Of course, it makes it hard for them to get out of the lane because it's got a barrier. But again, if they're going through, but this bus here, he's being held up by a car in front of him. Probably, I don't think he's stopping at the bus stop, but you'll see cars get in these lanes, and there we go. So cars can come in and out again, and yeah, you get the idea.
Conditions of the roads are still pretty good, even world standard.
Oh yeah, well, so all these flyovers. This is what they should do in Sydney, really. Build these flyovers. I know they cost 10 times as much in Sydney to build them as they do in Thailand, but it's only concrete and labour. I'm sorry, but the labour in Australia just got too expensive. That's why, as Stephen was sort of saying last night, where he works, they actually subcontract photocopying because they want to trying to save 1 cent per photocopy. Is that right?
Yeah.
Where is that mentality? Takes you 2 weeks now to get your photocopies done.
Save the trees and all that, tree huggers, but then you've got the ones who, double-sided photocopying and everything, and then they're so double-sided that they forget the real money comes in from the students.
Yeah.
And, you start handing students buddies double-sided crap and making them wait for photocopies of various materials. They don't get it. They get it. They're looking at the wrong things to build education in Australia. Anyway, that's another topic.
Yeah.
All those little drains. See the drains? They're trying to drain. What's that in the middle of the road? See that? We're on the
sewer. That's the under the river sort of sewer routes. Those plates lift off, and they gives them big truck access in. Well, not really so much, but
that's quite interesting. I don't know how they work, but obviously they still need to drain water from the roads, don't they? So they don't sink further. But I don't like these big concrete overpasses. Jesus.
So, yeah. Goy's not on her what do you call it, her MT09 this route. She's riding her 250. This is her other bike.
Actually, down there the buses are a bit rough and ready, but the orange buses, I'm talking almost 20 years ago now, but the yellow buses were air conditioned and there was nothing wrong with them. They're very comfortable. Yeah, you get a sore ass on the red buses because they're pretty, just wooden benches really that you're sitting on. But they're not too bad. They're pretty fast. You get to where you want to go.
Well, no joke. I reckon like the taxi, it was probably no slower than maybe like from the taxi ride to the bus ride. The bus was probably for that 30-minute ride in a taxi. The bus was probably only 35 minutes at best.
It's good fun too. It's good fun.
Yeah, well, it wasn't. They weren't hard seats either. The seats in the red buses were soft. Right, I did get a seat too, but I got a window seat on the sun side. That's the funniest thing. The Thais will sit in the shade side of the bus. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It is a funny. It really is funny.
You never really understand the Thai bus system still till you start being able to read. But you get used to certain routes, and I used them for 5 years, probably more than most people that come to Thailand as tourists or live there. Not trying to brag, but that's how I did things because I couldn't ride a motorbike, and I wouldn't have been able to afford to live there if I didn't use them. It really did save me a lot of money.
Gogohopping, what's a scubaloo? You're talking about a BART, what they call the Song Tower, the BART bus. What's a scubaloo? I have not heard that term before.
I haven't heard of Subaru. D3, I always mix up my roots, ROOTS in Thailand. He's quite a funny bastard, D3.
Okay, he says it's smaller than a BART bus. Okay, so that's a different name, but it's still a what I call a song tower. It's like those utilities, but it's a smaller version of the utes with the cage on the back where they got the two rows of seats. Yeah. It's a minibus. Okay, fair enough. I think they all come under the same heading as a song tower. You've got big song towers, you've got medium-sized song towers and small-sized song towers. That via bus app that you can get on your phone also tells you which numbers to look for the song tower as well. So the song towers have a number recognition system. You can utilise that for getting around the place as well.
A lot of people have trouble with taxis in Thailand, but what I used to do is just get in and say, Sawadee krap, meter krap, Sabadi mai. If you can speak a little bit of Thai, not much, just to break that ice, give them a little bit of a why, they're more inclined to be, it's more inclined to be a happy ride. If they're grumpy, then I just usually sit there and shut up. I don't say anything. You know? Because the sound of your voice probably just irritates them.
Yeah, the only times I've had a problem with the taxis is when I've been at Soy Cowboy and I want to get to Nana Plaza, or I'm Nana Plaza when I get to Soy Cowboy. They just basically, they sit outside those two locations and that's it. They hog the taxi ranks. What I've told, I did it on a recent video when we were down there, you walk across the road in the direction you want to head and you'll get a meter taxi. Invariably get a meter taxi.
It means 2 rows or 2 benches.
So you get a meter taxi if you just, as long as you don't jump in the first thing that come out of Soy Cowboy or Nana Plaza. If you just walk maybe 50 yards away, right, and you look for the these yellow green taxis. These are privately owned, right? You look for those ones.
Again, D3 in his bloody newspaper. He says, hit them on the nose with a rolled up tight newspaper.
Yeah. Anyway, I was trying to give you some clues. These taxis, these yellow-green taxis, these are privately owned taxis. You look for one of those in those locations and they will do the meter. But yeah, know a few words in Thai. Right, Swadee krap, bye Petkisam krap, or bye non-kem krap, bye, just say a few words. Where are you going in Thai so that they have an understanding. These are local Thais, they own that cab, right?
The Thai drivers usually ask you, Pai Nai, which means pay.
Pai Nai, yeah, where are you going?
Pai Nai, it almost sounds like pie, but it's an explosion of B and P. Pai Nai, and just means where you go.
Yeah.
And then if you can tell them
in Thai,
Pai, Pai, even if you know the name of the place, and you can show them on your app these days.
Yeah.
So if you've got it ready there on your app and you show them, that saves them a lot of anxiety and grief and stress, because they know where you want to go, and then you follow that up quickly. I think there's all different ways to do it. Pai asok club, and then they say, "Oh, okay, cup," and they'll give you a nod, and then you say, "Meter cup."
Yeah, get it.
But always say crap. Always say crap. Don't just say meter.
Well, actually, yeah, but again, so the ones that don't want to do as a meter, they'll instantly say 300 baht, samroy or songroy baht, samroy baht, and you just wave them away. Like there is always another taxi in those locations. I don't know. We keep on sort of saying this. Don't be a sucker, right?
Yeah. But look. It doesn't matter how long you've been there, you can still get a second arsehole sometimes.
Yeah.
But you're better off just paying it if it's negligible. You're better off just paying it rather than getting into a big argument or fight over $1. It's not worth it. But sometimes it can be quite substantial. I mean, it could be.
Joe Ford. All the girls say "bye night" to me. Where you go? Where you go?
Bye night. Bye night.
Bye night. Yeah. It's actually bye. It's like
it's an explosion of the B and P. It's very hard to say.
There should be no air coming out of your mouth when you say bye.
Right. Yeah, I haven't got it right, but I think I've got it right enough for them to understand. They can work it out. I mean.
So this is where we go around the block, because the person that Goy was leading and they went right ahead and they went and took, because the fact they didn't want to go across the bridge here, because the bridge motorcycles aren't allowed on the bridge, right? But this is Thailand, okay? This is Thailand. Who said?
I just say yes to everything.
Gogohopping. There he is, Gogohopping. Let me just put him up on a sort of, set him as I know who he is. So let's just give him a role as regular. Yeah, but if you want to come and sort of join us in the voice chat, just all you got to do is mute the video and join us 10 minutes in the future in the chat. That's what it's basically. It's about 10 minutes, 10 seconds in the future. Just hit your headphones and microphone on, and you're all good. Yaklama, he's obviously turned his microphone off. But yeah, so we go around the block here, and then we go across the bridge. I thought it was quite funny. They just, this couple, again, he's a Farang. He's new to Thailand. He's got the motorcycle, and he's doing the Farang thing. It says no motorcycles, we can't go across. No, guys, I said, just get across this bridge. Just do it.
Byron, just a quick question. Have you noticed any significance in the colours of taxis? I used to think the green and gold were the ones to go, but that just was my intuition.
Yeah, green and gold, or the green and yellow taxis are privately owned taxis. They've bought the taxi. It is their own personal business. Right, the blue taxis and the pink taxis and the single colour taxis, right, if they're a single colour, they are what they call group-owned taxis, like in Australia, like ABC, what are the different taxi companies in Australia? Cumberland Taxis, ABC Taxis, they're a conglomerate. The taxis are owned by the group of, the group ownership. And they hire the drivers, and that's where you get the arseholes, right? Because these drivers, what you'll see, why don't they want the meter, right? The reason they don't want to put the meter on is the fact that they put that money in their pocket. Whereas if they turn the meter on in a pink or a blue or a red taxi, right, that's being registered, and they only get a percentage of the meter fee as a driver because it's not their taxi. Does that make sense?
So yeah, it does. So would you say the green and gold are probably overall the better ones to get if you can?
I've always had a great journey with the green and gold because they take care of the taxis. They look after the taxis. It's their business. They take pride, just like a Thai with their car. They take pride in their ownership of it.
Well, that's important information, guys. That actually matches with my intuition. I was there so long ago that they didn't have as many different coloured taxis as they do now, and it can be a little bit overwhelming, a little bit scary when you're not used to it. But I think the green and golds were the first ones around.
Yeah, sometimes you don't get much of a choice. Sometimes you can be waiting 5 minutes for a green and gold, but out where we are, I'll just get any taxi because it's not a problem. But when I'm in the city, right, to avoid the meter discussion, I look for the green and gold.
Yeah, Robert says as long as the meter is on, that's true. Most of them are good. I don't know about all of them being good, but most of them tend to be good. I still think taxis are reasonably cheap in Thailand. They're not people. I think it's better to avoid the tuk-tuks than the taxis. And if you feel a bit more adventurous, stop being a cheap Charlie. It really does make sense. Like Warren, he saved 160 baht just on a trip that he knew, a route that he knew, and he got there as quick or quicker. And it was fun for him, you know. So use all modes of transport, guys. Thais don't look down on you if you hop on a klong and get on a river boat and use a bus. Some of them might be surprised to see you on there. Like, what the F are you doing here? Yeah, but that's all fun.
So we've done one riverboat taxi ride with Tim on a video a couple of months ago. It's something we do want to do. I know Tim's done a few more than me, but where he is in Bang Kachow, he's only a walking distance from one of the boat piers along one of the klongs. Right, so it's actually for him, it's very convenient to go to Jack's Bar, for instance. Because he just gets on one of those sort of things. He actually gets dropped off a pier just next one along from Jack's Bar, and then does a short walk around the street to Jack's Bar. So that's why he likes to hang at Jack's Bar. For me,
speak loud and taxi rides are okay.
Speak loud.
And I've just written in reply. Apparently, we're all loud. All us foreigners are loud, or speak loud.
Apparently, we foreigners are all loud. Yes. You've got to
Whenever I
choose
try and
carefully.
speak hard, I go, "Oh,
Airport
loud,
taxis,
loud."
like if you're in Swanepoel, right, they really do frown upon that. But there are still some arseholes that get into the taxi ranks in Swanepoel as well. So it's actually worse in Phuket. They sort of allow it. It's like it's one of those taxi drivers. They had a big picket in the city this week. Hundreds of taxis outlined one of the government offices and blocked access to everything. They're just demanding that they can put up their fares. They want, I think, a 5 or 10 baht rise in the flag fall, and I think another 1 or 2 baht per kilometre or something like that. They're asking for.
Well, look, people don't mind paying a bit more as long as they know it's honest. Like if the average foreigner knows this is the standard fare to get from A to B, it's a little bit more expensive, but I know they're not giving me a second arsehole. This is the thing. But on the other hand, too, part of the old Thai culture is to bargain, and sometimes you can get some good deals.
Yeah.
And
again, look, with the bartering side, if you know how far you're going and you know where you're going to, and like the tuk-tuks are fun. There's no doubt about that. They are fun. So if you know you're going to travel, 3 kilometres up the road, and they say 100 baht for a 3 kilometre run it's actually not a bad deal, right? Especially in the traffic, because the tuk-tuk's a little bit more nimble in the traffic, right? And you get 3 people probably in there if you're lucky, usually 2. But travelling open air in a tuk-tuk, it's a fun thing to do, But know how far you're going. Right, if you're only going you're going down one BTS station. Remember, the BTS station per person is 16 baht for that one station hop, right? Okay, so if you've got 5 people, that's 5 16s of 80 baht. Okay, so if you sort of see a tuk-tuk, well, that's and they sort of say 100 baht per tuk-tuk, and you only 2, that's 200 baht. Well, you're going to take the BTS, aren't you? Come on, that's just common sense. It's a little bit of mathematics. You got to know what it costs, and this is what.
Just be flexible. Like Robert said before, you can jump on a motorcycle taxi. I've never really had a problem with them. They might say 60 or 80 baht instead of 40. Big deal. You can have a smile with them and say, "Oh, Pang Mak, tell them it's a little bit expensive, and 40 baht dai mai, you can do it for 40. Machai, and then you just carry on. If you've got a bit of Thai there, if you don't have Thai, you can just sort of say 40, 50, they know what it is. But be flexible, because it's all good fun. Even the tuk-tuks are good fun occasionally, but I avoid them. But don't go to any jewelry stores or let them take you anywhere, or flash out a photo album or something, especially in the tourist areas. The Joe Ford said, I used the same taxi around Bangkok. He's over 80, terrible driver. His cab is old. He speaks no English, but I like him. I call him Mr. Magoo. Yeah.
So Robert Groves is actually saying we don't have meter taxis here in China.
Yeah, that's a worry.
Well, that's actually illegal. That's illegal, right? You cannot be a taxi without a meter. It is the law. So they are breaking the law directly if that's the case.
Not really, because Robert Groves is the mayor.
Oh, that's right. Robert Groves is the mayor. So you get special discount. Being the Poo Yai of your village there, Robert, you get special rates, do you?
Yeah. Changing Charam to the Groves.
Look at this freaking damn truck trying to come around this freaking corner here. Why? Basically, there's a rule about these 18-wheelers are not even allowed on these streets. But again, where's the police bloody enforcing it?
Well, where are they going to? They've got no choice on these big boys. Where are they going to go?
Yeah,
they've
got to get their product in, but
I don't know. We don't see that in Australia, like big, massive trucks right in the suburbs. You see them on the freeways. You see them on normal roads, of course, but on the longer stretches. But you don't see them in and around the suburbs. I think they use a different system in Australia to deliver goods to shops and things sometimes.
Well, these trucks here, it's the one that we see in front of us on the bike here. This is usually the normal way stocking shops of these things here. Like, there's always one of these things always parked out, well, not always, but parked out the front of the 7-Eleven.
They picked me up in a stretch limousine.
they always see something like this parked, in front of the 7-Eleven when they're taking product.
Hey, Robert, it'd have to be a stretch limousine if they picked up, what's that tall guy? If they picked up, what's his name? Robert Mack in Asia. If they picked him up, it'd have to be a stretch limousine.
No, I think they did a PopeKael for Robert Mack in Asia. It's got the high roof for him.
He just stands up in a big glass box.
A PopeKael. They've actually built the PopeKael for when he comes out here in December. I saw pictures of it the other day. It's actually doesn't have the full glass around it. He's taking risk with his life. Maybe
Robert would just travel. He just travel in the same vehicle as the giraffes do. Sorry, Robert.
This traffic we're seeing here, all these cars, pretty much all this traffic is going out to Bang Kachow, right? There's only one entrance into Bang Kachow.
Not to Bang Sue.
No, it's Bang Kachow. This is into the.
You know the joke about Bang Sue. I'm going to Bang Sue. Okay,
I'll give you want to go Bang Sue. What's her sister's name? But this is where a bike comes in handy.
Bang Sue.
You're going to go Bang Sue. Well, I preferred Mary. Anyway, so this is the thing. This is where a bike does come in handy. But again, so like the cars don't help. Like that's a bike lane. Get the frick out of the bike lane.
So Mr. Magoo has a picture of his wife in his cab, and she says she's 90 kilos. He says she's 90 kilos, but she's a good cook, and he laughs. So funny.
Yeah.
Tired, Jesus, she must look like a bloody medicine ball.
So actually, the Snake Mountain ride, I was being run over by, people on the wrong side of the road, and here's me doing exactly the same thing, and riding in the centre on the wrong side of the road, because the traffic is horrendous.
I don't know what's going on in places like Pattaya with their taxis. I got a second arsehole there just for crossing the road because I was quite sick. I didn't argue, but I don't know what's going on there. I hope it's not turning into another. Well, you can still get around there. You can avoid them. I just use motorbike taxis. But in Phuket, I mean, the prices of taxis is an absolute bloody rip-off.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Again, it's not enforced. People aren't doing the right thing. The tyres can fix the problem, right? Well, of course, the tyres don't get stuck with it, right? There is a number you can ring, and you can send in photos. You take a photo of the taxi, right? And if you hit the record button, you can keep some recording going, where they sort of say, and they don't offer the meter, right? You can have them reported, but whether they're going to be if they're going to take action against it in Phuket, that's another matter, because the taxi companies themselves are in cahoots and they pay bribery to the police officers, right, to get away with this shit.
There's this fine line that I see developing. I don't really, I mean, standardising all fares. They're now putting on a few more buses from the airport down to, say, Kamala Beach, and you're starting to see more standardised things, which I like, as opposed to having the uncertainty of knowing what the hell they're going to charge you. But getting around from Kamala Beach to Phuket is very expensive, 400, 500 baht each way every time you want to go down to Phuket. So you tend to stay in Kamala. It's all the mountainous topography is all mountainous and very hard to get around if you don't have your own private transport. Whereas I think that in Pattaya they have a better system of transport with the Songtaos and that go to Jomtien as well and various things like that. And Bangkok's pretty good. I mean, if you can't get around in Bangkok, then there's something wrong. You don't have to know the directions. There's plenty of modes of transport that you can use. And with the BTS, I mean, can you imagine in the 90s when I was there was no BTS? And no, you didn't have a phone, you didn't have a, you didn't have way of GPS or anything like that. Now it's much easier, really is. Not for me necessarily because I don't use a phone, but it is much easier. If you can't travel around in Bangkok, there's something wrong. You're never far from the BTS, you're never far from a bus or something. You're not going to get stranded in Bangkok unless it's late at night, early in the morning or something like that. you know, or you get into some sort of argument where you're just pissed and you don't want to pay anything for your ride, you know.
Yeah, the T3 is the Pope heading down Soi 4 to save the souls of a few working girls. I really don't know. See, here's this arsehole taxi. What the, really? Again, he's a hired driver. He doesn't give a fuck if he scratches the yellow
Robert
paint.
Groves sort of says the same as I'm saying. He says, yes, Stephen, no taxis at all. You need your own transport. Same in Charm as well.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, if you can grab a push bike, if you're a bit fitter than me, you can ride to Hua Hin.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. I like that area actually around Charam, Hua Hin. That sort of.
It's a nice area. Yeah. Go down
you're not far from Bangkok.
Go down during the weekdays. It's a very pleasant place. Weekends, even the Thais fill that place up, and it's just you know.
But I'm like Warren. I feel comfortable in Bangkok now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still overwhelming, but I like that. I like to have that edge about it. You know, that edge. That's what makes it exciting. You know, you think, fuck, where am I? And
it's the Wild West.
I mean, look at that picture there. Look at all the concrete. It can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's exciting as well. Really,
especially when the motorcycle driving along the road. Here comes a truck. What the fuck? Yeah, get in there. Squeeze up. He shouldn't even be on there.
In front of you there, Warren.
That's Goy in front of him. Yeah, you like Goy,
She
do
could
you?
be my future lady.
Yeah,
well,
well,
I like her style. Yeah.
She doesn't have a boyfriend at the moment. You know.
But I don't know. Does she like guys or?
She does like guys. Yeah.
She's a bit of a tomboy.
She's a bit of a
tomboy.
Yeah. She's a bit of a tomboy, but she's one of my best friends. Yeah.
She's very comfortable on the bike, and she's actually a championship rider, isn't she?
Oh, she can ride really good. Yeah. But she's done riding courses and things as well. So.
Yeah, she really looks like she's meant to be on a bike.
She has 4 brothers.
Oh.
Okay. So she's the only girl in the family, apart from my mother, right? So, but she grew up with 4 brothers. So you get the sort
very independent.
Yeah,
she's very independent.
Well, she's had to fight for her right to exist in amongst 4 brothers, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You're still, it's like everywhere in the world. If you're male, you've got a big advantage to start with.
Yeah.
I'm not here in the West anymore. Silver bellies have taken over.
Silver bellies have taken over, I know, but at least now that we've come over that bridge, that was the only way into this Bang Kachow. So now that we're getting a bit more.
You're acclimatised to the weather now, aren't you, Warren?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the weather. I actually wear jeans most of the time now, because it's actually cooler to wear jeans than shorts.
Really?
Yeah. It's cool.
I used to wear the
cotton jeans, right? Levi's.
I used to wear trousers.
Yeah. I've got cargos. I got cotton cargos, and I've got Levi's 501s, and I find they are just much more comfortable now.
I don't mind the heat, but some days it can be really intense. I mean, this burns you, you know.
But you also see Thais used to say, well, why do Thais wear long pants? There is a method to madness, right? If it's cotton, it is actually cooler. Cotton or linen is cooler than having your legs bare open to the sun.
I wear long sleeve shirts and I wear black trousers. Yeah. Probably black's not a good colour, but I wear black trousers or light cotton trousers.
Yeah, I tend to wear blue. Blue obviously reflects a bit more ultraviolet than.
You stop wearing shorts after you've lived there a while. It makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, and long sleeve shirts. I mean, look at what the Thais do, how they dress. It's not shorts and singlets. Whereas a lot of foreigners have shorts and singlets.
Well, there's a guy on the bike there. He's pedaling. He's got a white shirt and he's got blue pants on. You know, and it's all long, covers all the skin.
Well, this guy, yeah. You don't have to worry about suntan lotion or what have you. The Thais do as I say, and you wear what they wear, and they've just done it, you know.
Yeah.
We can just we'll just try and focus on it now while I'm watching. The guy, she just loves riding, doesn't she?
She's just a rider. She loves riding. Yeah. She loves that thumping feeling underneath her legs.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
That's my future bride you're talking about.
You sure? Yeah, it's all right. Okay.
Have some respect.
Have some respect.
She doesn't know that she's my future bride yet.
Oh, well, I'll make sure I tell her next time.
No, don't say anything. What's she doing with her leg there? She's sticking it out.
Oh no, she uses her leg for signalling.
She's giving you a signal. What's that mean when she sticks her leg out like that?
She's saying, "Watch out for that. Watch out for the left-hand side there. That the road was uneven."
No, she's not. She's saying, "Don't talk about me like that." Grove, I see people with budgie smugglers and singlets around here. Not a good look.
No, it never has been a good look.
Especially not when you're over 50. You tend to sort of wear boardies.
Oh no, if you're athletic and you've got a six pack and
How many people do you know over 50 that have all that?
Well,
I've
got the t-shirt. I've got the t-shirt. I'm just working on the body.
Yeah. I always think they're talking about beer when they say six pack. That's my first answer. I think, they're talking about cold beer.
Yeah, I'm looking for the six pack. I've got the keg. I've got the full keg, but I'd like to reduce it to the six pack.
Oh, Joe Ford, I've got some competition. You after my woman, Stephen Monash. And then he says, okay. Got to put up a bit more fight, Joe. That makes me feel like she's not special.
Robert Groves, his six pack's in the fridge. It's the best place to keep it, I think. Yeah. Heat expands things. You know what I mean? Heat is expansionist, right? So keeping it in the fridge obviously keeps it smaller and more tight.
Yeah, that's what cold weather does to your old fella.
Is that right? It shrinks it all up.
Where are we going on this topic?
I don't know. You started it, not me.
Chris B, only gym I do go to is the Jim Beam.
the Jim Beam.
Very good.
So we are now actually in Bang Kachow, right? This is obviously the difference. This is what they call the lungs of the city. Very green. Most industry is banned from actually building. It's probably one of the only places in the city that actually has ordinance of some sort of level. They're not allowed to build high rises. I think the maximum height of a building is 2 stories. There are some ordinance like that. And as we get further into it, even the cars, well, not cars still go through, but the roads go to single lane with bike, what's called bike lanes on either side of a single lane road, which you'll see shortly. But it's a really lovely area.
Yeah, I don't think the bike lanes have been using for that purpose, are they?
I'm supposed we're still on the main part of the roadway here. Right,
they don't seem to have any fear, the tyres. They just pull in, they join the traffic like they get on a bus.
Like I said, I don't see all this when I'm riding. I'm watching the rear vision mirrors. I'm watching what all these moving objects are doing. What are they doing? What are they doing? Anticipating every possible move that they can do. Well, they can't move right angles, so they can come at you. They can sort of cut the corner. They can do all sorts of things, and you're always riding in that sort of defensive position, like this taxi was looking at overtaking that truck.
Yeah.
This motorcycle is overtaking a thing, so you just give him way. Like he's on the wrong side of the road, but do I have to have an issue with it? No, I don't. Anyway, so we're off this main road now. Now we're going on into the actual Bang Kachow area where cars are limited. I don't think that's what the ordinance is, but
once you get out of that inner city of Bangkok, you see all this. You could be anywhere. It's quite nice.
So now you can see the road itself is a single lane road with bike lanes either side. So it's what they call it's multi-directional. The cars can go either way, right?
This is really cool. Really cool.
But we got push bikes as well. So we've been dealing with push bikes. You can't really ride fast through here, but it's very, very green.
Look at that, Warren. You're still in Bangkok, really, but you're in the outer suburbs, really.
Well,
it's not in concrete or anything like that at all.
It's actually a stone's throw from the centre of Bangkok.
Yeah, and people see Bangkok, I think, in the image of high rises and taxis, and there's not. Look at this. This is lovely. Really, really nice. There's nothing. I'm surprised how undeveloped in terms of high rises and crap it really is. Just to be that close to the central Bangkok, it's really quite nice.
It's like you're in, down in the back of Charam, or
Well,
Katchanaburi, or
the
Pechaburi or
ladies
something.
going by on the bike with an umbrella is just so. You don't see that in the West.
That's
People
so
would not ride
Thai.
the
That
bike.
is so Thai.
Yeah,
They don't want to get a
but it makes
suntan.
sense.
Oh,
It makes sense though.
they get very good. You see them in our soy here in the middle of summer. They're riding on a push bike with an umbrella and a mobile phone in their hand.
Yeah.
How the fuck
Do you
they
know
steer? I've got no idea how they steer this shit.
Australia's more interesting place now because of all the immigrants coming across.
Mm.
Like you'll see how they all dress and how they react to our hot weather, and they start, like you see them with their entire heads wrapped up in cloth.
Mm.
And some Australians still say, and they give them abuse because they don't understand different cultures and they're just ignorant. But it makes sense, and you see some of the Asian women wearing the umbrellas and carrying, it's, you do see a lot of it now in Australia because we are getting increasingly multicultural, really you see, and they're not afraid to do as they do in their own countries. A lot of them come from hot weather countries. So, but I think this is great. This is really nice.
You
don't
got
know you're in
these
Bangkok.
right angle corners, because of the fact that they're very blind corners. You'll see all the mirrors, so you can see what's coming around the corner because the traffic can go both ways.
Look at that lamppost. It's on. Jesus Christ. You can start to see some Western trappings. The bins, they're out, before they'd just be throwing that rubbish in big piles on the side of the road. So they're incorporating it the way they want to incorporate
That's the
it.
red and green bin there, so you got normal refuse and recycles.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with these streets. They're very narrow, but nothing wrong with them.
Yeah, and we've got sort of somebody ahead of us doing deliveries, but everybody gets along. It's a shared access, and everybody has a sort of little bit of respect for everybody else.
Have you thought about living further out? Like you're saying you're buying a house. Have you thought about living
Well,
further
I
out?
said the video we did. I said what was it? What was that thing we called? Let me just make sure I know what I'm saying before I say it. Well, let me just get that back over here and get that video back up. Chim Chop Chai. So we've got the Chim Chop. Where are we? Videos unencoded. So we've got Halloween at Seacon. That's the next video out, which will be out released tomorrow. Then we've got the Temple Fair, which is our local temple's doing its fair. We've got the Wall of Death motorcycles in that. You'll get to check that one out. Then we did the Chim Chop Chai, which is this thing here that we talk about this Thailand tourism, right? They're not only so we talk about foreign tourists. The Thailand administration has said we need Thai people visiting Thai locations, and they started this thing called Chim Chop Chai. It's an application Thais can put in their phone. They go to a different province and they can spend 1,000 baht. Right, so we take Mother out to just down the road a bit because we're just on the border of a province here. Take her into Nakhon Pathom and she does some weekly shopping and buys some goods. Chanya did it a couple of weeks ago. She bought 1,000 baht worth of hair product in Samut Sakhon to take to her shop in Bangkok province, and as she said, like, I paid 1,000 baht, but I'll make 4,000 baht on that.
Robert Rose said, talking about rubbish, Stephen, news is 7-Eleven shops will stop giving out plastic bags from January 1st next year.
Yeah, that's happening all over the place now.
All over the world now.
There was an interesting article. I don't think I should really discuss it because it starts a fight. But the guy that actually invented those plastic bags did it to reduce pollution. Right, his intention was the fact that they weren't meant to be single use. Right, they outlast paper bags. Paper bags in the 1950s. Yeah, well, paper bags in the 1950s were single use, and they were sort of seeing in the 50s. Well, what they were doing to make them hold more products, they were making them grease-proofed and things like that, which then didn't decay. Right, in the waterways, and they were clogging up waterways. So he came up with this idea of these plastic bags. It was never an intention to be single use, right? They are supposed to last forever, and when you finish them, you wrap them up, and they take up virtually no space in your handbag or handbag or your shoulder bag or whatever you like to call your bag, right? And you keep them for as long as you can. You reuse them. They are strong enough to reuse, but of course then cutting costs.
What's going to happen on a smaller scale. Like normally when the Thais sell you a Coke or that, they pour it into a bag because they keep the refundable can or bottle.
Well, I don't know.
They'll pour it in a bag.
I don't know. I think commercial ownership like CP franchise chains, they're going to push the issue of, you have to ask for a bag, or the bag's going to cost you $1 or something like that. Or, get the idea, they're going to start if you want the bag, you have to pay for it. But if you go to the little corner shop down here, not the 7-Eleven corner shop, but the guy just 3 doors down, and you want a Coke and an ice bag, Coke and ice, Pepsi, non-cam, nam-kang, with the ice, then he'll put it in the bag. He's not non-king. Yeah, he won't charge you for it, if you know what I mean.
It sounds like a tongue twister. Midnight.
I'm still at that tongue. Everything is tongue twisted. Tell me about it. Anyway, so we spent the day. This is us on our way back out of Bang Kachow. The Bang Kachow, we did the ride around in the park and everything else on the push bikes. Quite welcome to go back and check that video out. I'm pretty sure you already have. Here's me trying to get out of this fucking location. God, let me out of here. Let me out of here. Look at that. So the cars stopped for me and let me out. You would never see that in Australia.
Yeah, but what kind of location is it?
Location? What?
It's me trying to get out of this effing location.
Oh, yeah. Effing location.
If you have a money jar, every time you swear, you should put.
You think I should start a money jar, do you? Pay for my bus trips.
Yeah, and that's what you. No. When I come over, that's what you shout me a beer with.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to actually make a list of every time you swear. I'll earn a fortune, but all I've got to do is ask you how to do something on the computer, and I'll earn a fortune.
Well, I see Bluesinc's joined us. Just hold on a sec. Hey, Blue, are you there?
Yeah.
How you doing? How are you listening?
How are you, mate?
Good, man.
Good to have you along. We're just riding through Bang. I don't know how long you've been watching for. We're riding back from Bang Kachow now, back into the city. But unfortunately, I forgot to take the previous footage off the camera. So I don't get all this ride back home, unfortunately, because
Bill Simpson says I always found a second use for paper bags was I hang around with some pretty ugly girls when I was young. Whenever they ask me, do I need a bag at the shopping centre, I always say I'm married to one.
Oh, sorry. What's Chris talking about here? Is it Chris B? What's this? Soy? At least it's a soy with personality. What was it? He's often a sort of side.
You're saying the soys have got personality. I mean, they have these roads that you've seen.
He says, I like the house on the dead end street the best so far. Well, that's the one we're actually doing the paperwork for right now, Chris. She's getting that prepared for the bank. So she's asking for the 3.2 million, right? That'll give us our first, position on how much we can spend, right? Unfortunately, we'll probably, in that case there, I can see there's probably $500,000 baht worth of renovation work I'd like to do on that. We have to put the water on. We're going to put the security grills on at least on downstairs windows and doors. I want to make one of those rooms bigger, and there's also we're going to need to build the kitchen part at the back, so that requires a bit more renovation. And of course, but the location is perfect because then Mother can do her sewing stuff and all that sort of stuff.
Thais are very social people, and they're very enterprising. I mean, they've had to be because there's no real government services that they're provided with like we are in the West. So they just do things for themselves. They improvise. They whack up a little shop. They whack up a little cafe, a street vendor. I mean, this is what makes Thailand unique, and I'd hate to see that go.
Oh,
I
that's
really
it.
would.
I don't think it's going to go on. I think eventually it'll go. Probably within 50 years it'll,
It won't affect us.
but it won't affect us. We've only got 30 years on this planet, so.
I've got 40. I've
no.
got 40 more. I've got
Right.
40.
I got 30. You got 31. Okay.
40.
Okay. I got 28. You got 29.
I've got 40.
Wow.
So I'm going till I'm 90 just to annoy people.
No, I said I reckon we'll be uploaded to the cloud before I'm 90. That's it. My plan is to. I plan to upload to the cloud before I die. Okay, right.
My mother said to me about her daughter-in-law, she said, I'm just going to live longer to piss them off. And she's actually improving her health because of it.
Yeah, but on the subject that they just came good, I actually ran out of space doing this footage on this ride back, so we've only got another 20 minutes of it, or another 27 minutes of ride footage left on this. But I've put a 128 gig card in there now, so I can actually get 8 hours of footage for a ride now on one hit.
Wow.
So that's almost a ride to Sukhothai. Well, it could be a ride to Sukhothai if I take out the stop brakes. Yeah.
I like to pay attention, Wazza, when I'm on the road, because you see really nice little cafes, cool little cafes, mama and pop shops.
Yeah.
You see these real cool little places that you don't like. You tend to when you drive along these things, but there's some cool little places off the side of the road. And you think, they're more Thai than Phalam, but they're really cool places to sit and have a feed and to really get yourself into the Thai culture,
What I'd like to be able to do is, like, I know we have our what I call it, the relive, which I put in the footage for the normal videos I do. But having something that could be tracking where we are on Google Maps, which then I could overlay in a corner object on this ride footage to give you the actual map location. You can see it roughly on the. I've got the camera a bit further down towards the speedometer at the moment, so you can sort of see half where we are on the Google map. But
Paul wants to know whether you can charge your phone camera off your bike.
Yeah, you probably don't quite see it there, but let me see if I can get you a pause. Oh, there we go. I could have just done it there. Let me see if I get one more bounce. Yeah, that's not a bounce. So just hold on, one more bounce. Come on. There.
Yeah, cool stuff,
so there's the phone on the left hand side here, right? What you'll see here is a USB connector. It's plugged into I've had what they call a cigarette lighter adapter, like the normal, like in the cars. You have a car sort of cigarette lighter. You don't have cigarette lighters anymore, but they're a 12 volt plug-in device, right? And I've got a thing that goes in there that gives me my 5 volts for the USB. So I run the camera off one and I run the phone off the other. So I'm actually tethered to that device with a cable. It's long enough, it gives me enough freedom. But yes, that's how we do it.
Do modern cars have ashtrays in them
No,
now?
mate, no. Whereas with Chanya's bike, I put the adapter on Chanya's bike, but it's not the cigarette lighter adapter, it's just the USB adapter. The trouble is, if it does fail, I need to rip that out and buy another one and get somebody to fit it up. Whereas with this one here, the only thing that will fail is the actual thing that I plug in, which means that I could, if it does blow up, I can easily sort of replace it without having to rewire something.
Does your phone ever fall off or fall out when you're riding? Or?
This one here, it's got the 4 little clips on the side of the phone. Well, you can see the 2 on the top. It's actually
2 little ears.
It's similar to this one here.
It really locks it in safely.
Yeah, so it expands out like that, and yeah. So it gets all 4 corners. Again, if somebody would come up beside you and give it a good old, hard yank, they'd be able to rip the phone off and the whole plastic device, but they'd have to try really hard. I was a bit paranoid when I first started. That's why I bought the little Nokia phone, which is my GPS phone, which was
Oh, look
tethered.
at that sorry to interrupt, Ron. Look at that concrete above you in the air there. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we actually rode that around getting off this on the way in.
You rode on that shit.
Yeah, we were up on there. That was how high we were
Oh,
up before.
that's. Oh God. I shit myself.
William is funny. William.
What was that, Blue?
William is funny. He say, does it rain or something like that?
Does the rain or wet conditions not damage your equipment whilst riding your bike?
No, well, that's the ride we did the weekend after this. It was dry on the way out. It's rained when we got to the park. We rained in the park. I didn't put the camera out. I didn't put the phone out when we rode around to the dam because we had wet roads, and it can damage the camera. Well, it doesn't damage the camera. The camera housing is waterproof. This housing is 50 metre waterproof.
Yeah.
But the trouble is, the water goes on the lens, and you can't wipe it off because I've got no cloth to wipe the lens. So all you get is just a blur. As for the phone, even the Samsungs don't like that water being forced down with air pressure, right? So it's not a good idea to have your phones out there in the rain. But they'll take a bit of splash damage. The ideal, if it starts raining, you just got to stop and take your GPS or your phone off the cradle. That's all. Put it in a plastic bag so it doesn't get damaged. They might be IP68, but that doesn't mean waterproof. That means the fact that they will withstand dust and water damage, or water getting on the phones. And I think but an IP68 is supposed to be 1.5 metre depth, right? So, but that's again, there's no pressure really at that depth. But when you get water with wind pressure, you can actually go past. I think was it 2 so many millibars pressure, which means it can go into the circuitry because. Yeah, so even though the IP68, under high wind pressure, water can still seep into some of the areas because that's what happens with pressure,
That's a bit like me, really.
Yeah, under pressure.
I can still cry under pressure.
It's always nice riding behind Goy. Get to look at that cute ass of hers,
Hey, cut it out. That's my future bride.
That's right.
This is.
We are seeing more and more helmets worn in Thailand, in Bangkok. Not so much in
My big fat ass at the back of her bike while she's riding.
Yeah.
Would I ride in front of her or would I ride behind her?
Well, I don't know. Depends if you actually get yourself a bike license, doesn't it?
No, I can't ride.
Yeah.
I'll get to ride with Goy.
You're going to ride in the back of hers.
Yeah, well, will I sit in front of her or behind her? I don't know.
You'd sit in front. You'd sit behind her.
Oh, okay.
Right, but I think, she may have a balancing problem.
I'm having all sorts of evil thoughts now.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was where the camera cut out and it wouldn't record again, but I still got another 15 minutes of footage. I pressed the button when I got back here, and
whenever I want something, I can just pull on a ponytail.
So, we're now in dusk in traffic trying to get back onto PopeKael Road.
PopeKael, what a nightmare.
Oh, yeah, the cheap helmets, those plastic helmets, they will stop your head from being grazed if you fell on the concrete. That's about all they do. They've got really no protection. But again, they're just encouraging people wearing helmets.
This means you've got to pick the plastic out of your brain when it splatters.
Yeah, it's one of those sort of things.
They don't do anything. They probably make things worse.
It'll take another generation. It'll take a generation to get people to have it.
There's one's red bus.
There's a red bus, yeah.
Got lights on it at night too. Look at that.
They're not air conditioned, so they've got to drive with the windows open.
Yeah, you don't need air conditioning. Don't sit at the back. Sit somewhere near the middle. So they get all the fumes.
Oh, this is the extension they're doing to the blue line going down the east side, or doing down the west side of the river. It's another 3 or 4
Yeah,
years
this
away.
is the. What are they building there in the middle? Another bloody.
Yeah,
concrete.
no, it's just more BTS. I think I think that's an MR. This will be an MRT extension. I'm pretty sure.
Actually, one day, Warren, can you do a video on the subway? Like the underground.
Well, they don't. There's actually a rule that you can't actually use cameras in the MRT subway.
Because
There
I
is,
left before I had the chance to use them.
there is one video I did. I'd have to get. Yep, probably have to get on my website and look up. Just put up MRT. Let me see if I can do it for you.
What do they call it? One's the BTS and the other one's the MRT. What is it?
Yeah, so BTS is one system and MRT is the other.
Is the underground.
MRT is the underground, but it's now overground as well.
Okay, so colloquially they call it the MRT, do they?
Most of them they call it SkyTrain.
No, for the BTS they do, but Rod Far
No,
SkyTrain.
Yeah, but they're all called the SkyTrain now.
Well, even if it goes underground.
Yeah, it's just a Thai thing.
Yeah, I never got a chance to use the underground.
So I think it was sitting on the street bank and make a way back home, change service between the MRT and the BTS. So I think we got some shots of the MRT on vlog 227, which is called Back in Ceylon. But I can't remember. I'd have to look at the video and just look it up.
I think I may have used it from the airport to get me into Bangkok Central.
That's the S. That's a different service again.
That's the airport
okay.
rail link.
What's that called? That one? See?
Airport rail link.
Airport rail link. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Goes underground, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's
just only at the airport.
It's just a airport, Suvarnabhumi Airport personal service to the
That
town.
was good. That was nice. And I always get the train now when I arrive. It's so easy.
Yeah. That's like they wanted to make, because the whole world, most of the airports they have airports, right? And then everywhere, and then they just try to make one services that runs from the airport to the city.
Yeah, it's so easy now. I don't even bother with the taxis. I don't bother with the taxis unless I'm really in a real big hurry, and then I'll just say, okay, 300 or 400 baht.
No, actually, if you're traveling alone, it's nice to take the airport rail link.
Oh, it is. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's like some in between of a backpacker and just actually
It's a luxury ride. It's not a ship train. No.
Chocolate cocoa. Good morning, darling. How are you?
It's, I think it's one of those local train ride, but it serves its purpose from airport to the center of the town, right?
Yeah. Boston Nova says, "Hey, Woz, do they have safety helmets, or do you have to wear there, or can you wear anything?" I think it's a bit of both.
Well, I said there was an article that was published about 2 months ago on Thai Visa, and police had pulled over a guy, and he was wearing a saucepan. No joke. He was wearing a saucepan. It had like a big saucepan. It had handles on the side, and he had rope or string between the two handles to keep it under his chin. They did not fine him, but they took him to the they took him to the local like the little houses they have. No, they took him to like the little side kiosks. This was at a set of lights. They pulled him over, right? Man. They had an issue with him. They took him to the side and they gave him a helmet.
Oh, beautiful.
It was like you'd have to go and find it, but it's a classic. It actually made funny good news for a change. But he was wearing wearing a saucepan. He was wearing a saucepan. No joke.
Some of them wear that coconut. You ever seen the ones drive with the coconut on the head?
I don't know. There is actually, I've seen you can actually buy these helmets that actually have hair on them.
Wow.
Right, so it looks like a normal guy, just a bigger head. But then they pull you over, right? And they said, but it's a helmet. It's a fully solid helmet, but it actually looks like human hair.
Fucking hell. Saucepan, that's a classic. That's classic.
Yeah, so this is Sunday night coming home. This is on the road back to PopeKael. Yeah, a bit of night riding. Like the next one I do, which is the one which goes for 4 hours. We're not going to go for 4 hours on this one, but there's 4 hours of ride, and the last hour of that 4 hour ride, which we went up the waterfall, gives you an idea what it's like riding at night. Yeah, but this is
I did stay in the middle of the road at night because you can't see any fucking thing.
well, you can see here. There's enough light there. It's still dusk. The phone itself changes from daylight to night driving.
You can't see the oil on the road as well, can you?
Well, there's you have to worry about those sort of things, but you can't see it as in a car either. You just got a bit more.
But you don't need it in a car.
Bit more steel around you. Yeah, you can slide out just as easy in a car as you can in a bike.
You can, but less likely, I think. I'm getting a car over there, I think.
And just above us there, that's the Bang BTS. And on the right-hand side, that's the President condos, which is where Tim stays.
Oh, okay.
And that on the left there, that walkway takes you to the what we were talking about, the river boats. So it's a nice little junction. It's actually quite expensive. Yeah, it's quite expensive to actually buy these condos in this area because you've got the MRT and the BTS and the river boats all converge at Bang Kachow. So it's a prime spot now, and it's really building up in development around this area.
They're all about convenience, aren't they?
Yep.
All about convenience. I mean, well, whether that's happened just by accident because they're living close proximity to each other, and also with the franchises, they just don't give a shit where they build them. Like 7-Eleven being the classic example. It's great. It's convenient.
Yeah. Yes, the William Poole. Yeah, you do like this whole idea of not so much in cars but motorcycles. Right. Seriously, I don't know how they get over their registration, but again, we have this 40% of Thais riding motorcycles don't have a motorcycle license, and out of that 40% of motorcycles, 20% of those motorcycles aren't even registered on the road. Right, and it's disgusting. But what can you do? It requires the police to do their job, which is pull these people over and fine them, right? And the fines the fines are just ridiculously low. Like people just it's a frequency. It's not like in Australia where you can forget to put your indicator on, and next you got 3 police cars chasing you down.
Yeah.
In Thailand, as I said, I've been here for 3 years, and I have not yet seen a police vehicle with a siren on, apart from a YouTube video. Where
they tend to set up stops.
We get stops. That's all we get.
It's definitely not as bad as the West yet. But in the West, you get pulled up for an indicator, then they're looking over your tyres, and they're looking over the whole car, and they put you off the road, and don't worry about the fact you need a job to get to work. And it's just people think Thailand's sort of getting stricter. Well, they are, but they're nowhere as bad as the West. And people say, "Oh, they're doing it for your own good." These bullshit. Revenue hunting.
So, Blue, do you actually know Choco, do you? Or you just live in Singapore?
Both Singaporeans.
They're both Singaporeans, but you don't know Choco, do you?
No.
No?
No. I invite him to join Discord.
That's a ladyboy, she.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. You said he.
Right.
Join in,
Cool.
get him to join the Discord. That's a she.
She or he or she, I don't know.
Yeah. We try to honour their gender that they aspire to be here. We're not going to cut, get difficult with it.
No, I got no issues about that.
No. Yeah, Bill Simpson can quite agree with you. I'm glad you put the little symbols in there because it would have unblock it.
I don't quite understand what you mean, Bill. What's what you're trying to say?
I think
got 2 times $168 fines for not paying a $19 East Ink toll on time. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Australia's just about revenue. Just, tell you they tell you how much they care about you, and then they stuff their hands in your pockets.
Yep. At least it doesn't cost as much over here for the paying for the Christmas fund as it does in Australia.
Just never ending. Even if you get a wedding invitation now, they tell you to give them money instead of presents. I mean, it's just.
But I think the Australian police are having a tough life, right? They put on a straight face to you and ask you to pay for the fine and the offence that you have made or something like that, right?
They got a. I did look. I got the odd good cop, one that pulled me over, and I started ranting and raving because I said I hadn't gone through the orange light like he had suggested, and then he kept telling me to calm down, calm down. Once I calmed down, he was quiet. He let me go. He said, "Well, he said." So you do get some good ones, and I think that's important. But they've got to get past. They get pressure from their superiors. Get out there and arrest somebody. Get a bit more revenue. People say that doesn't go on. Well, they're not. Clearly, they're not thinking.
This quote is.
I think the public services officers, such as people like police, firemen, and things like that, usually they should go like some kind of a cause, like a community cause, which they are serving the public, and you have to be polite and friendly and things like that instead of like going head on and.
But you don't want to go like they are in America, where they're getting you down on your hands and knees, and they're coming from the rear of your car with bloody fully loaded AK-47s.
Well, the other thing is like this whole thing about their quotas. Like this is totally misconstrued by people who want to have an argument, right? Every business has KPIs these days in Australia, right?
Yeah.
Key performance indicators. How do you get a performance indicator as somebody who's in a car all the day? Well, it has to be based on how many miles they travel, right, and how many people they've pulled over. So there is it's a KPI. It's how do they get paid? Well, if they don't meet certain KPI indicators, then they won't get the thing.
It's a quota.
Well, it can be construed as a quota, right? But it's not. It's not really a quota, right? It's a key performance indicator, right? They have to justify their they've spent money on fuel. The accountant's running everything, right? There's fuel costs, there's service and wear and tear on the vehicles, right? You've been out in the road 8 hours a day, right? You haven't sat at a coffee shop for 8 hours, right? And those performance indicators was how many miles travelled, how many people you booked, right? How many tickets you've written, so on and so forth. And that's the whole thing.
But it exists. It absolutely exists.
Yeah. So there is quotas, but it's not used as quotas. It's used as performance metrics, right, to justify the police officers' the performance against other police officers, so they can get promotions and things like that.
In the old days, if you got picked up for drunk driving, the police were already drunk as well.
Yeah. Well, let's not go there.
No, they were in Australia. I got picked up for drunk driving, and they said, "You had anything to drink, mate?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Oh, okay." And they were all pissed in the police car. The two in the back and the two in the front. He says, "Oh, never mind." I said, "So what did you pull me over for?" He said, "You're going around in circles." And I said, "Oh, I thought somebody was following me."
Yes, Choco. That's exactly right. You can't change everybody's opinion in the world. The world is going to be full of rednecks 1,000 years in the future. Don't worry. Not much you can do about it.
How do you know?
As soon as you get rid of one arsehole, another one comes along.
Yeah. Just in 10 years' time, or within 10 to 15 years, you'll be able to have a full gender reassignment, which will actually give you the full biology of a woman to even have babies. Right? This will be possible within the next 10 to 15 years. Medical science. They can now grow from your own cell tissue, and they can train cell tissue to form these biological parts in your body, and you will be able to have a full gender reassignment. And even after that, even to having the effects of having babies, right, there will still the assholes that'll call you out on it, right?
Oh, I thought they were all come out from test tube.
Yeah. Okay, the thing that I'm a little bit against is how, some of these guys, right, are going and sort of calling them that they still have not had a sex change complete, and they're getting into sports, right, under this gender dysphoria disguise and winning sports events. Now, I think there's something wrong there, right, and they should put a stamp on that. I don't think that's appropriate. But if you go through full gender reassignment, right, and you've been on hormones for 5 years or something like that, right, and your muscle tone has become womanized, well then that should be that sort of participation level. But how do you gauge it? So the best thing is that gender reassigned people should not be allowed to play sports in their chosen gender. That would solve the problem, right? I know.
No, I think this one they have this problem like whenever somebody wins a contest, a marathon, a sports, a band or something, whatever it is, and then they will straight away pinpoint and go for the attacking on the sexual preferences, which is I think it's off. It's totally off. As in, like you're not treating that as a in fairness to the person.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I don't know about what others think about it, but that's my personal opinion.
Yeah. And I think just people just should lighten up. Like just because somebody has a gender reassignment, how does that affect your life? If it affects your sensibilities, well, you're reading the wrong documentation. It should have absolutely zero effect on your life, right?
Yeah.
Why even waste the energy of even sort of raising your voice about it, right? It has nothing to do with you. It's got everything to do with them. Let them do what they want to do.
Right.
It's seriously, people just get so wound up with this shit. I don't know. It just drives me nuts.
No, because I think it's like they are like talking about levels. We are not on equal levels. So that means he's let's say for example that guy is once a he and he become a she, and he knows about his past. So he's trying to attack her on his past.
Yeah.
Instead of you're talking about the present right now, present between you and me or whatever it is.
Well, more to the point, he's probably pissed. He's probably more pissed off the fact that men are now opening doors for her, and people won't open his doors as well. Like he's got his nose at a joint because she's got more privilege or so, whatever. I don't know.
This is like a normal bigotry of a person, like how they try to rub off people's past and bring down somebody. Like instead of talking one to one on a equal stand.
Yeah.
Like, we need more compassion and forgiveness. Yes.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, for me, I'm looking at like I would like to treat a person as a person. It doesn't matter whether it's previously it's a he or she or I mean, is this their choice, their personal choice. It's not up to us. It's their life, not ours. Right? Yeah. So that's how I look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, if I need to, extend my genetic line, I'm going to need a genetic woman to propagate with, right?
Wow.
That's it. That's the way it works.
Chantal Love says actually transgender isn't about sexual preference.
No, it's about gender identification.
Right.
No, they have a psychological label on it called gender dysphoria. I've talked about that in videos as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's up to some people's individual. They just want to remain at their bigotry place.
Yeah.
Where we as a person we can't really like try to be friendly and try to bring them to an equal level.
Well, again, it all comes down to the fact that what's being thrown at their face in their face on everywhere they look. The media. It starts with the media. If the media had a different aspect on it, right, then it might be a different, different change in the feelings on the issue, right? But the media demonises it. They shouldn't, right? But this is what we get. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, it's a good 3 or 4 hour discussion. Maybe we could do that discussion, on the next motorcycle ride and really sort of explore it, and I can get some material prepared for it, because I'd like to have that overall discussion. I do have these discussions in private with people, and in small groups, trying to sort of, help and clarify some of the misnomer that the media hype sort of puts around this sort of stuff.
So what do they like to be called, Warren? Transgender or ladyboy? Or what do they like to be called?
Women.
I think
If if
they
they
refer to them as the third gender, or they say
no, basically a transgender woman, right? So she guy to male to female, right? They like to be recognised and have female pronouns,
Yeah.
right? They don't like to
Okay.
be called lady boy or transgender or anything else.
Oh, really? Okay.
They have gone through a whole process, right? A mental
Yeah.
process of change, right? To be identified as who they are, which is they've
Yeah.
thought that they were a woman all the way along, right? So let them be a woman. Treat them
Yeah.
as a woman,
Because
open the doors for them, buy them flowers, all that sort of stuff.
Actually,
Chantal refers to herself
if
as
you guys like really sit down and calculate the cost, the pain, and the humiliation that they went through, I think they really paid a really, really high price on what they're going to go after. It's like us as human, like we wanted to become a pop singer, a movie star, something, somebody important to the public or what. We work hard in a company or something just to get recognized. But theirs is just they're just chasing after their own dreams, and they paid really such a high price for people to recognize them. I mean, for people to acknowledge them. That is really, really. I mean, I'm looking at it's really brave. Yeah,
Yeah, well, this is the thing.
yeah,
So, and Pat Ty's joined us there. Good
yeah.
afternoon, Pat. How are you? Um, yeah. So where are we going to? I'm just bring up my page. My pages. Where's my pages? There we go.
So what happened to the right now is stop, right, under the bridge.
Yeah, well, basically, I've that was the footage. There's only 1 hour and a half footage on that one, but so it's now 12:15. We're just let's continue the discussion. It seems I don't know whether we should discuss it. I don't have any material prepared for it, and I'd like to have the discussion and sort of prepare a whole
Can I
bunch.
just interrupt, Warren?
Hey?
Is Chantal a lady transgender? Is she?
Yeah, I believe Chantel's also gender optimised. I used to.
I'm trying to understand her comment. She said, simply put, transgender are born in the wrong body. I mean, whether you agree with that or not, I don't know.
Hence the need for surgery to correct the imperfection. Yeah.
Now that bit there, I mean, without going too deep, that bit there confuses me a little bit. What would you deem as imperfection of the male form? Is that an imperfection?
Well, you've got to look at the biology of the thing. Like there's a chromosome that creates a change. Like this is the identification in medical terminology now, is the fact that everybody's basically born female.
Yeah.
Right, that fetus for the first month of gestation is primarily female, right, and then the chromosome kicks in, right, and gives you the genitalia of the gender you're assuming, right, and then so it's only after about 2.5 months before they can identify through ultrasound and through medical tests, right, the fact that the child is male. Right, and if you actually go for an ultrasound and they ask you in the ultrasound test, right, and you ask him early in the piece, is it a male, is it a boy or a girl, right? They will sort of say identically it's either 70% female or 100% male, right? Being the fact that they've identified the genitalia of the male fetus, right? But that can only be really seen after about 2.5 months of gestation. Right, it grows. It's it's the way the system works, right? And there are cases in different places around the world where they are born with both anatomy. It's what they call hermaphrodite, right? So it's not like anybody's taken any drug to be hermaphrodite. And what will happen normally in those situations, they'll undergo surgeries to be one or the other. It depends on how much the hermaphrodite sort of, system has taken place, right? If they're born with the womb and the testicles are the ovaries, which is what happens. The testicles in a male are the ovaries in a female. It's not like they're a different part of the body. They are the same. They have been identified now as the same object in the body. Just with the Y chromosome, the Y chromosome, the ovaries become the testicles. I don't know. Do I have to educate the world on this shit? And they're like, God.
You do on me on that because
Yeah.
I don't understand a word you said.
And the womb grows, right? Basically, it's the whole way the process works. This is the way we've grown over 1 billion years of evolution, right? Hermaphrodites, they actually, if they are born with a vaginal opening, but without the womb or with also testicles, then they will actually sort of do surgery to close that opening up, right? If alternatively they're born with the penis, which is the clitoris, right? If the penis is forming and forming properly as a penis with the hood and everything else, and it has the eye or the urethra through there, right? Then they will continue with the male genitalia. Right, but if it's born with a penis, but thing is the vagina is fully formed as a vagina and has the womb and no testicles, they will actually cut the penis part off. And this is what happens. You might call it genital mutilation, but this happens in biology, right? But what we're sort of seeing now is we're seeing more of an acceptance of the fact that there is also a mental process going on as well. Like Chanya, she had an older brother, 2 years older, playing with trucks out in the sandpit, as a boy. She was in the kitchen with mother cooking food at 3 years old. She had dolls and things like that. She grew up as a female. And they just let it happen, right? It was only when she turned about 12 or 13 years old where mother's on her side and says, and she says, but I'm a girl, and she's been a girl all that life, as a kid, and she now wants to take the hormone therapy, but the hormones aren't cheap, right? And when you're lower class society, I don't have to say that. It's not the fact that lower class but she's typical working class Thai. Father didn't make enough money to put food on the table, put a roof over their head, pay for the clothing, and buy the hormones. Does that make sense?
Bit of nature nurture there going on.
Yeah. And so, father had an issue with her, when she's at that age that she should be considering, doing the male thing and getting out and working and helping put food on the table. She wanted to do the female thing. So father says, well, you're not welcome in the house. And she was kicked out at 13 years old. She lived in the monastery for 3 years as a what they call a page. They wear the white. The monks allowed her to be in the monastery and adopt a female position, right? And then she started doing cabaret, and that was how she paid for her hormone treatment, right? And when she got to 17, right, she had her own breast augmentation. She paid for that herself from the money she made from her her cabaret stuff. Right, and when she started sending money home to family, as they do, right, she's sending home more money than her older brother was sending home. Right? Father had a bit of a change of face then, about face on the whole issue, right? And he started to accept who she was, and that's when the family sort of got back together. Although the father and mother separated and everything else, but it's now accepted. It's an accepted part of this family.
Telling them they're psychologically unstable, that's not helping either, is it?
No, well, that's the thing. But again, if you look at it from, like my daughter's, she's a psychology. She didn't do not a doctorate, but she's got a bachelor of psychology, right? And we've talked about it. We talked about it, many years ago. It is that there is a psychological condition, right? Now, but again, I've got a psychological condition. I'm a dickhead,
No, but it ought not be to say, it ought not to connote negative meanings. I mean, they have a psychological condition because society is not ready for them. A lot of them have to live on.
Society creates a box to put them in, right? And once they put them in a box, the society then feels safe, right? And this is what happens with all society. They want to put you in a box. They like to put me in the gay box because I'm with a ladyboy. I said, well, at what time do I think that a guy's penis is fucking something I want to have in my mouth? Really? You know, I've got zero want to be with another guy. You know, but a girl that has breasts and looks feminine and has a physique that looks feminine, and she purports herself to be feminine, whether she has a penis or not, it doesn't make diddly squat difference. She, in my eyes, is a female, and I would talk to her as a female, right?
Do you see them as a third gender, Warren, or do you?
Well, I do put them in that sort of classification. She's at another gender level. But, you know, putting it in a box, it's a conditioning thing. I just accept everything about her.
To say they're a third gender doesn't, again, ought not be a negative thing. It could be a positive thing.
You that's just the way we look at it. You know, it doesn't ring that way with me. It's you know, like it's just it's an easier way to help a conversation, right? General semantics, right? We create the world around the words we use. You've done general semantics, haven't you, Stephen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So linguistics. Yeah.
Linguistics and general semantics. Yeah. So it's, you know, like we actually build the world around the words we use.
We create schemas.
Yeah, schemas and everything else. Right, now, we only have to change those schemas, and the third gender would be more readily accepted into society just by changing the words we use. Right now, sort of, you know, like transgender, we have she-male, you know, transgender, transsexual, you know, ladyboy, katoi, that's just to name a few. Right, so many different words to describe something because we don't, you know, it's not accepted. The society that we live in hasn't accepted.
And to show you the prejudice when you see those terms, I even heard one the other day, 2-in-1. Okay, now it's seen as a bit of a joke among Thais, but the same way they
words.
Go on, what was that? Sorry, one at a time.
I think it's a negatory in words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you know, like the way they use 2-in-1, so, I heard a lot of Thais use that, and they see it as not a vindictive thing, but sort of a humorous thing, right? The same way they will refer to people as con lao, almost like they're of lesser intelligence, or you know, they're a farmer or something like that. You know, you kun con lao, you know, kun pud muang gan con lao, or you know, just it's sort of a derogatory term. Then you know, if you ask someone, they say no, we just mean that they're a farmer, but 2-in-1 is a bit of a colloquial joke among Thai people, I've found out, in reference to the transgender.
Yeah.
And that might be funny to them, but it's indicative that they're not fully socially accepted.
Yeah. And again, it's just people just don't like to realise that, we are human beings. We are a mammalian species.
First and foremost,
we are the same.
People with homosexuals or lesbians or whatever.
We are the same mammalian species. That's it. That's it. Why we have to have this, distinction? We had this discussion the other day. We're prejudiced. Wasn't it prejudice or racist? Prejudice. I think
we're all prejudiced.
We're all prejudiced.
Prejudice. It's not racist.
We're all prejudiced.
Contention.
Right, but again, that level is obviously we just accept the fact that we're prejudiced. But
it doesn't fit into our worldview. Yeah. We tend to go with societal norms and we perceive things through societal lens. But when you look at things which is more difficult through the individual lens,
Stephen.
Things are a lot different.
Yeah, go on, Blue. Yeah.
No, it's not like that. It's the society is the leader, the first person who has spoken, that created the laws or the rulings that change our perception, right?
Yeah, well, that's part of it. Yeah, so now
I think there's two strings to the bow.
I don't know whether it's a good guy or a bad guy, as an idiot or what. But the first person that rules has come up with a statement that put us in such a messed up situation like today.
Well, basically, we could say the church did a lot of that. The church did a lot of that through the 10th and 12th, through 10th to the 13th centuries. The church's expansion into Europe and those sort of places, they were pretty much where that stuff lie. lay back then, and then of course we had the Reformation, and of course if you weren't with the church, you were the devil, and now we're going to the whole thing with Islam as well. It's almost like a repeat of the 17th century. We just need to wake the fuck up, and sort of say, look, we're just human beings, and
And we just need to be stop being xenophobic.
Stop being xenophobic. Look for the good in everybody.
An ethnocentric approach is what you were referring to, I think, there, Bluesinc, where it's a top-down influence on society, but then you have the bottom-up influence, and then you have the individual perceptions as well. And none of those seem to correlate. I mean, there is some, like, for example, they might say in Asia it's a collectivist society. Well, yes, overall, perhaps, but so is the West. But yet we'd like to call them an individualistic society.
Yeah.
So it's really, these theories are not absolute. They're just ways of trying to work out through anthropological means or sociological means how society works. So we create these theories that are born out of the laboratory most times, or the sown by the seeds of prejudice. And what we really need is to allow people to perceive the life as they see it from an individual point of view, as long as it's not hurting anybody else, right? And as long as that, and they can take what they want from the societal lens, but not being forced from any one authority or other person to do something they don't want to do.
Well, again, I think one of the memes that I don't think I got ready access to it, but I don't care if you're black, white, red, green, blue, yellow, pink with polka dots. If you're good to me, I'll be good to you, right?
That's what it's about. It's about character. It's about Bluesinc. Wow.
I think we are talking about it's like deviating into more like etiquette, right?
Well, that's it. We can be pro society, pro looking forward to growing. We should be a multi-planet species by now, right? But again, there's money involved, and
I think
it's all that fear of other, being an outsider, excluded.
No, guys, actually, hear this out. If let's say, I mean,
Crimson, yes.
For example, like this world, we got no citizens of Australia, Singapore, or whatsoever, and it's just like one big lump of country by itself and things like that, where there are no politics and no society indifferences or whatsoever. I think we should be living in space by now.
Well,
I think we're moving towards a more global society, but people like to hold on to their nationalist identities, whether that's so in other words, we have layers of identity. I'm a Thai, I'm a policeman, I'm an upper class Thai, I'm a male. These are all layers of identity. But at the end of the day, we are all human.
We're all just carbon-based life forms.
When we're getting along,
this is like some kind of a society trick, I should say.
Well, when we're getting along, imagine if you're American and somebody's, Aussie, right? Now, when they're getting along with each other, they tend to converge, right? Yeah. So they become more alike. When people are not getting along, they emphasize their differences. In other words, they instead of converging, they diverge, right? And then in that process, we try to accommodate people. We try to accommodate people in order to get along better. So like intercultural communication, for example. If I'm talking to somebody from Singapore, for example, right, I try to accommodate you in areas where I don't really understand what you're talking about. If we're not getting along, according to the theories, you become more Singaporean and I become more Australian. And that's pretty clear through research that they've shown that. When people tend to get along, the Americans start to sound more Australian, the Australians sound more American, and we tend to overlook the differences and emphasise our commonalities.
Right.
Yes, Dallas, Elon Musk is doing a good thing with this whole SpaceX program. But don't forget, we've got Bose, and we've also got, what was the Virgin Galactic? Who was that? Branson. They're all working to it, but of course, all three of them are looking for the commercial side. It is inevitable that we'll be a spacefaring species, right? When that happens, is just going to come when the costs are affordable, right? That's when it'll happen. Right, and as Robert Ann Wilson would say, once you leave this gravity well, right, why the hell you would even think about going back into a gravity well? right, is a completely, another discussion altogether, right? It's basically it's a prison when you're a spacefaring society. But we should right now be having sort of space colonies up there. We've got, we had was it Skylab, and that sort of died in the arse because of political reasons. Right now we have the space station, again very political. Right, it's a political statement. It's not really doing what it's supposed to do. Right, we should be building you know, we should be building a city there.
Uh, Elon Musk is doing the right thing now. I fully agree.
Yeah, well, he's getting there. But again, he still has to play. He has to still run the gauntlet of the rules and regulation and where the money comes from, and keep his keep his stockholders happy the fact that he's making money for them. Because that's it. The society don't. 99.9% of the society don't give a flip about getting into space. They just want to know where their next paycheck's coming from.
No, because there are leaders that are controlling the NASA, and those politicians they don't really like his result because his result is too promising.
Well, once you get out of this, once you get into space, you can't be governed, right?
Right.
Musk is looking at Mars because if he gets on there first, he's going to own Mars. Pretty much, that's it. It's going to be his rules.
Yeah.
He will be the king of Mars if he gets there first, right?
Yeah.
And that's part of it. Is that good or bad? I don't know. Let's just get there first. Let's do the politics after that.
Yeah.
Apparently, there is a 7-Eleven on Mars.
I think the way he brushes off those politicians is like I think there's no politics.
Well, he's fucking 100 times smarter than the damn politicians collectively combined.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Jesus.
I think he just see through all their cuts and their games.
How can we be run by a society of morons, right, who have barely passed school, right? They can talk to all four legs off a Arturian mega donkey, right, but they've got no idea how to put a freaking mobile phone together or something,
And worse than that, Warren, they're deliberately indifferent.
Yeah, that's it.
They've got their own agendas.
They've got their own agenda. I just want to know where my next paycheck is.
As I said before, we need to get more back to direct democracy, where governments are accountable, transparent, and they serve the people and not serve themselves. And they need to bridge the distance between the people and themselves. Because right now, we don't have governments around the world. We have just these state-run oligarchies full of self-serving wankers.
Okay, Chantel, right. Now, there is a link that will take you to a web page where you can just register with a name and come onto the channel and have a chat, and the web page will work. It's just not the fully fleshed version of Discord. Discord is an application that works on your computer, on your mobile phone. It's just like Facebook on steroids if you want to build community. That's what it's about, and that's what I'm trying to do with the Discord channel. Tokyo Drew's been doing it with his crowd. He gets a lot of interaction on his channel. If you don't know Tokyo Drew, it's a channel I would highly recommend you tune into. I think he's a great guy.
He's the guy that lives in Tokyo, right?
He lives in Tokyo. Yeah, he likes a beer, right? And he takes you and shows you the sights and sounds, and does his live streams around Tokyo. And he's building up a community through his Discord channel.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to do the same thing here as well, right? I'm trying to sort of build a community, right, where people can interact, get to know one another, ask questions, help each other. I know it's very altruistic, the whole idea of helping somebody without payment. I know it's anti-establishment, but that's what we're trying to do here.
Now, for anybody like me who didn't understand what Discord was originally set up for, Warren can tell you it was set up basically for gamers, to video text each other, to communicate with each other. And so forth. So when you first go on there, you see there is a big difference between as Warren said, the dumbed down Facebook
experience
sort of stuff. It's a lot more.
I'm going to go pee. Talk amongst yourself for 5 seconds.
So yes, you're allowed to have a piss, Warren. So
Okay.
I've lost my bloody I've got so many boxes open here. Hold on a sec. There we go. I'm back again. All right, guys. How long have we been on for? Several hours. Warren's gone for a piss, so we've had a few interesting chats here. Good group going here, I think. We've got the same people coming on every week, and we're starting to build a good channel. And we haven't had any trolls. Don't touch wood. I shouldn't have said it, but it's been good tonight. Warren, I know, puts a lot of work into this in his own time. So if you feel like shouting him a beer or something like that, doesn't affect me at all, but please do. You know, I know it gives him a bit of a lift. He's not doing it for the money. He just wants to be rewarded sometimes for the work he does put in. He's at this 24/7, guys, and I can tell you, technically, what he's set up here is far superior to most channels. It really is, because he is very cluey with computers and technology.
What, you're trying to put him like 7-Eleven?
Sorry, mate. Sorry, missed that Bluesinc.
No, saying that you're trying to put Warren like 7-Eleven technical specialist.
He puts a lot of work in, is what I'm saying, and so if sometimes we can reward him with a beer at that, I think he'd appreciate it a lot. I know I would. It's like any job you do, you want some reward to sustain you, because it does get tiring. He loves it, but it is a lot of bloody work. I know that he puts in a lot of work, so the odd beer or the odd super chat wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, and of course, as I said, it's never required. I do have my financials, and I have.
Back now. Don't say anything now. He's back.
Yeah, stop talking about me. Yeah, but like, you know, again, it's all right.
Warren, there are some guys out there. They are somehow they have actually what do you call it? Install the Discord, and then they have trouble like looking into our server. You know. I think somewhere you didn't put our server the name like Khaleesi Liberation.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So there is a method behind the match. The Khaleesi Liberation Front, right? It's like, I'm a Discordian, right? It actually means something very specific. It's about about liberating your internal self. Right, that's what it means. It's Khaleesi is a Greek word for beauty and divine inspiration. So liberating that divine inspiration within a community, you know.
You got it right. So you can join our talk right now. Yeah.
So Coco's obviously got here. I don't know if she's actually managed to get the speaker. It takes a little bit of tweaking, but we can do that after. We can once this live stream finishes, we normally continue on talking anyway. And that's the thing. So it's our group. We can talk amongst ourselves.
I think in Discord we talk like in a more relaxed and comfortable manner.
Yeah. Again, if we look at Stephen's live streams, they do it on video. They do it through that thing that Stephen has to pay. Was it $25 a month or something to get remove the branding on the what they call stream? There's a Streamlabs.
Download. Warren can be our leader.
I don't want to be a leader.
He's actually our Indian chief.
So I'm just a shaman, right? I'm just
a shaman.
I'm just a shaman.
How humble is that?
I'm just a shaman. Stephen can be the leader. I don't mind. So I don't have to be the leader. Jesus.
I don't want to be the leader.
Nobody wants to be the leader. That's the thing. All the people who are capable of leading and could probably change the world we live in, we just look at it and say, let the world can go stuff itself, you know.
Yeah, that's because we're smarter than Obama.
That's right.
We knew that it was a useless effort to show any form of utility.
Yeah, but so there's a lot of better people could run the planet than the arseholes doing at the moment.
Chanya Lavo you can just click on the Discord voice. You can to talk into the. I'll throw up the link for you. Again, I did put them up earlier, but I'll throw them up again. So if you want to talk with Warren,
you will need obviously microphone and speaker on your computer. Let me just put.
There you go. I put the links up there for you.
No, actually, I'm on my iPhone.
Yep, you're on the iPhone, are you? So it is, it is iPhone compatible too. So there you go.
It's so compact and so friendly. So I don't think I want to on my laptop or my desktop or whatsoever. I'll just put up a stand and then just talk and look. I mean, look on the comments and just
Computer in
have
the
a
pocket.
discussion with you
Computer in
guys.
your pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really need to on. I mean, I don't really need to power up the whole desktop just to.
Well, yeah. When I'm out and about, but again, so on the desktop,
Yeah.
I'm usually doing something when I'm here, so I just
Yeah.
I got two screens.
No, I'm just expanding on my end side because I'm just a guy who just come in for discussion and chat up and
I'm hiding. You can't see me.
yeah,
So.
ideas and things like that. So what I did was I just install a Discord and then just put up the YouTube and then that's it. And everything is run on the phone. It's so easy. Yeah, it's very easy.
Yeah,
and
so
so compact.
The phone works and you plug your headphones into it. I don't know if the Bluetooth will be allowed you to speak if you Bluetooth headphones, but
yeah, Bluetooth you have to buy the proprietary one. That means you got to buy the Apple one. That means you're using Huawei, then you got to use the Huawei one.
yeah,
That's
possibly.
That's the stupid disparity that I got. I mean, yesterday I got an argument with a friend of mine where I was trying to tell him that the Huawei Bluetooth earphone are really nice because the bass is so is very good. Likewise, for other brands, the sound quality is not so good. So I was telling him the idea that why can I mean, how about I spend the money to buy a Huawei Bluetooth earpiece and put it on my iPhone? He just shut me out. He said, "There's no way. It's every product, every brand all got their own proprietary code. So you got to buy theirs instead of others." I say I don't like Apple's one because Apple's the sound quality wasn't that good lah. So yeah. I was thinking of like trying to bypass them, you see. Yeah. So eventually I didn't got it successful. So
yeah. Look, I can also see at some stage in the future, like we've seen Discord grow over the last few years, and it still is free to use. That's the thing. I can sort of say they do have a subscription model where you can get all these extra features, bells and whistles and things like that, if you choose to go down that path. But it is free for everybody to use. It's free for me to have my own server. But I have actually sort of seen some tests where we have actually group video in it. But unfortunately, the problem I was explaining this with Stephen the other day. The problem with doing group video, like what they what's the one that's the StreamYard, is you need high bandwidth to stream all that video through one source, which means that. Oh, hello, Coco. You see there, do you? We got up with.
Oh, who's online?
And Dallo and Coco. Yes, there we go.
Oh my God, this is the first time. I've been trying very hard to get into this.
That's all right.
Welcome.
It takes a bit of getting used to about who's talking and letting people talk and everything else. You'll talk over other people and so on. But we normally try to give you a word. Introduce yourself, Coco. Quick.
But I download the app. Actually, I download the app because I cannot use the browser, so I just download the app.
Yep.
From the phone, right? To the phone?
Through the tablet.
Oh, through the tablet? Okay, yeah, it works on a tablet. That's again, then the app will work on the tablet.
Bigger platform to work on.
A little bit more screen. But it's great to have you along. Yeah, so this is the whole idea. We're building a community here, right, for people to join in, ask questions, and let me just give Dallo a membership as well, make him a regular.
Hang on.
Can you revert back on
And I think Dallo, the only thing you're going to do, Dallo, is you're actually going to turn the audio off on the live stream, right, so we don't get that feedback from the screen.
Yeah. I thought Stephen called himself Mushroom, right?
Well, Stephen is a mushroom, yeah.
Yeah, magic mushroom, right?
He's a magic mushroom.
Con Stephen now.
And Billy S, there he is.
Stephen. Oh, right. I thought he put something like magic mushroom or
Yeah, I did. I was tripping out when I put that up.
So Bill Simpson's joined us. There we go. We got a few people using it today. There we go. But as I said, the whole idea is the fact that this is going to be when you got the app running, it runs on your phone all the time. It runs on your desktop all the time. And if you want to have a chat and you see me in the lobby here, right, you can use the text channels, put your links in there.
Yeah.
People will ask questions. That's the whole idea. People will ask questions and we help them out. And that's the whole idea of the whole thing. There's a few other people. I know there's a few Thailand vloggers that sort of have gone down the insisting that money should be. Thanks, Stephen. There's a few Thailand vloggers, and I'm not sort of saying you shouldn't do that. They've gone down the route of the fact that this information is worth something, right? And to get the good information, then you're going to have to pay. I'm going the other way. I'm just saying, look, there's plenty of information. I've got 400 odd videos up on my channel. We're showing all these channels out there as well, what they're doing, and the information's there. Just because it's from Joe Blow and you're paying $25 a month subscription doesn't mean the information's any better. It's an information from his point of view, and there's a financial motivation to try to be accurate. Who's got TV going on in the background there?
Yeah.
Palm Springs? Turn your TV off. That's
People still have TV still.
Yeah. That's Dowlow. What you probably ought to do, you might have to go to push to talk so that we don't hear the TV in the background while you're not talking.
People dropping off now, Warren. We've been on a while.
Yeah, well, what we should do is we'll continue with the Discord. We'll keep that going, but we'll actually close the stream so we can talk a bit more.
William and Joe and Robert are on their way.
Better?
Yep. So okay. Look, I'm gonna shut the stream down now. So let's do a little bit of the music tune to fade out with, and then. But stick around in the Discord and we'll continue talking. This is what Maggie's been doing with her live streams and so on. And again, that's what happens with Stevens. It's a community we're building. We've got our people coming in together and enjoying each other's company. The whole thing. It's just one of those sort of things. But Discord, if you put the app on, it'll run all the time. And you just got to, if you're bored, see who's there, You got something to say, see who's there. You see something funny, put a link up, something. You got a news article, put a news article. The whole idea of sharing information, right, is the way to go. And that's what we want to do with the Discord. Anyway.
I was totally confused.
Anyway, so I'm going to end the stream now. So here's
the smart man.
So let's.
Oh, sorry, you had all sorts of noises coming out.
So here we go. So let's play the closing music.
Whatever you play, and you like